Another season starts for the HTL Racing League here at the World Center of Speed. We saw last week more than 40 drivers take to the grid, all with one goal: be as far as front as you can to try to win the Great American Race, HTL's version of the Great American Race. Now all these drivers, 41 in total, will have the chance to etch their name into history and call themselves winners of arguably the biggest race in all of HTL Motorsport Series. You are watching live coverage of the HTL Cup Series Daytona 500 live on ABN TV. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joe Cortez. Kevin Young joining me in the booth. Kristina Ryan pushing all the buttons in the background. And Kevin, if last week was any indication of what we're going to see tonight, we're in for a lot of good racing. 125 laps around the 2.5 mile D-Oval.
You can say that again, Joe. Right now, coming in, waking up tonight, had a good breakfast, and I'm just sitting here in the booth. I think you, Joe, had a good breakfast as well, and I don't know what these drivers are feeling of, but I can say for myself, I'm feeling a little bit nervous. This is going to be very exciting to watch, to see what these drivers can do. You got a lot of favorites. You got some drivers you know will dominate, some drivers that may sneak up behind you, and next thing you know, we could be talking to a driver that we may even have on our radar right now, winning the 5th annual HTL 500, not the ABN, that is the channel we're on.
That is, in fact, the channel we are on. Last week, we saw these drivers all take their qualifying times and the duels races to set the field tonight. Your point sitter is going to be John Hagan, the driver of the number 44 Toyota Camry for Arrowhead Racing. So that's going to be a very interesting point to talk about, because Hagan will start basically alone out there on the field. No teammates around him. He's going to have to start working with everybody who he's got. The good news is there are quite a few Toyota Camrys between Arrowhead and NFG Motorsports that will all be happy. OD3 Racing as well. All be happy to try to work with him and get the Toyota, show the Toyota dominance here early tonight.
Yeah, Arrowhead Racing is looking for one of their first HTL 500 victories at the very least as a team owner. Now, obviously, they have a lot of strong drivers at the very least. As we see, we're following right now Hagan over here coming out here as he's leaving the pit lane. And I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how this team does. They've been dominating speed weeks, been very strong. Hagan won the charity race at Daytona, won the pole position. Even though neither driver won a dual race, they still can't count out Arrowhead Racing and the allegiance they had. And I think one of those cars is going to be within the shouting distance of winning here tonight. 41 drivers, 10 teams, more than 10 teams, I should say, all going to be working together tonight with one goal: win the HTL Daytona 500. I believe I've got a good friend of ours on the radio, my broadcast partner from last night here on ABN. That would be the boss lady herself, driver of the 96 machine, Carmen Sienna. Carmen, show, you got a copy on you, buddy?
Gotcha.
Love to hear it from you. So you're going to be racing tonight. You're not going to be starting exactly where you were hoping, behind your teammate John Hagan, but you still got a lot of race in you. How's the track been so far?
A lot of it's been sort of a united front to try to clear some of the dust off. It got very dusty over the week, so we're trying to get all that cleared off. I think everyone's kind of concerned about that, because it seems like there's some dust that just isn't going away, and it's sticking to the high lane right now, so it's a huge problem with that. Overall, kind of going into it, mindset's still kind of the same. I think we're all pretty much on a pretty unified strategy. You know, John's at the front of the field. He's going to do his thing, but a lot of us are together. Tommy, me, Lily, and Shad, we're all in the same group. It's about really just kind of setting up the first two stages. Beginning of the season, stage points don't matter too often much yet for us. So we're going to kind of just make sure that we're all there for the last stage of the race. It's going to be wild having 40 cars all together. Largest HTL field ever. But there's a lot of familiar faces. Last time we were here, there's no cautions for an accident. There's just the stage breaks. We're hoping that something similar happens tonight. I know how good everyone on this track is. Everyone's here for a reason. So we're excited.
Lots to be excited about tonight, and something we've been following all week long are the team allegiances and team alliances, and how teamwork is going to play a big part in tonight's strategy. You've got 4 drivers here in Arrowhead Racing. You guys are the ones who were able to lock in very easily. But you also have a lot of Toyotas here as well. I believe 5 more Toyotas out there helping you to get racing out there. Have you talked to the other Toyota teams, and how much are you guys planning to work together?
there was conversations over working with the Toyota teams. I think the Toyota teams between us and NFG Motorsports, I think we're just on different strategy calls. If we work together, it's going to be later in the race. I think early on, there's not going to be a lot in between us. Just because I think my team's going to be sitting back a little bit, just trying to keep those cars running. The NFG gang, you got Hunter Peach, you got Seth Wanzing, DJ, and Tommy Withers. They're starting in the back and they want to move forward. So we're probably going to cross paths in stage one. But we're very much going to be riding around and they're not going to be. So there's not going to be a lot of work there. The team I think we'll be working with a lot, though, might be Tombstone. I like where Blake Henderson's at. I worked a lot with Chafin, with Dustin Hall, with that gang. So we actually may end up being in with that group. So it may be Toyota and Ford in that regard there. But we're not pressed into working with someone in particular. We know there's 5 of us on track that we can help each other and kind of bail each other out if we're in bad situations. And ultimately, I think the biggest thing is just making sure that when we pit, it's just us. Avoid the traffic because we've seen traffic be so bad. It's just about hitting our marks. Everyone, we've been hammering it for the last month of this is what we need to do, this is how we need to do it, and we've seen it work very well so far. It's just doing it now when it matters the most, but we're probably the most relaxed team going into the night, and that's hard to do when it's a race this big with 5 drivers that have never won here before.
Real quick, Carmen, you're in the car, you've driven the car, you've run it through qualifying and the duels. What's it going to take to win here tonight?
Patience, absolutely just patience. A little bit of luck, because you are going to be in positions that you're not going to have an easy way out of. You don't want to get yourself pinned in, but you need to be a veteran of these races. You can't be new to plate racing and just luck your way into it. Everyone's got some experience here, miles upon miles, the thousands of experience here. We have nothing to lose. I think that's the biggest thing, but it's about being patient, having a little bit of luck, and just relying on that veteran leadership. If someone gives you the outside lane on the last lap, you're going to take it. But at the same time, running the inside lane, if someone decides that they're going to defend the outside lane, you got to be able to be flexible and adjust to that. And I think we can do that. We've shown that we can win in either lane tonight or over the past couple weeks for tonight. And not everyone can do that. So being patient and trusting what we do 100% is going to be the most important factor.
That is the voice of Carmen Sienna. We will hear from her later on in the show tonight, as she'll be our in-race reporter. We'll definitely hear from her during the caution periods between stages, and probably sometime when an accident happens.
Absolutely, going to be a lot of fun. Also an ABN2 here a little bit. My onboard's going to be available for display as well. So hopefully we get some good images from the 96 onboard.
That's right, I forgot to mention, over on ABN2, you will be able to see exactly what she's seeing in the race, as she will be offering complete onboard coverage from the 96 Toyota Camry. Thank you, Carmen. We will definitely hear from you later in the race.
Absolutely. Everyone have fun and enjoy.
That was Carmen Sienna, the lady that makes it all work here at ABN. You can check out her perspective all night long over at ABN2.
Yes, you can. It's a great channel. Obviously, I stream there on Sundays for ARCs and some other series race there as well. And it's definitely a good channel. So make sure if you're not subscribed to ABN2, you do that and follow to make that happen. But we do have one more driver we are going to talk to as well. We're going to talk to Blake Henderson. And we'll see what his thoughts of Tombstone Racing driver, what he believes is going to happen tonight. Blake, it is Kevin in the ABN booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Alrighty, well, thank you for taking some time out of your track time here. Obviously, we'll give you a quick interview here so you can get back and practice, get ready. But I guess we'll start off with a point here as well. Again, you are a very experienced driver when it comes to plate racing. We know you love racing these things, and you also are one of the only few drivers that have multiple top 10s here, and also one of the only few drivers that have done all 4 HTL 500s. Going to try to make that 5 tonight as long as you start. So how does that veteran leadership help you out here tonight?
I have no idea. I don't know, drive fast, turn left, try to be in the draft and be there where it matters, I guess. These things are so fickle on how they're going to go. Like, I have a feeling stage 1's going to be fuel saving, but like beyond that, every 500 I've ran in this league, almost every plate race I've ran in this league has been completely different. So I think the only thing that matters with me running so many is that I know the tendencies of most drivers. I know what they want to do and when, if they're going to work with me, if not, what blocks to throw on who and why, and who's going to throw a block on me. Um, Beyond that, I don't know. I think there's like 11 people that are making the first 500 start today, so it's going to be an experience learning what they do.
Yeah, you are correct. I'll count that real fast. It actually looks like it's 9, but still very close there at the very least. I will also throw this point out as well. Obviously, I can go over numbers and stats with you, but at the very least, I don't want many putting reverse jinxes and get knocked down the door. So I will ask this question as well. Obviously, you do have an allegiance with a few other 4 teams at Unforgiven Motorsports. So I'm curious, again, how is that going to work out with the other team? You have a technical alliance or some drivers you may be friendly with. Is that going to maybe change your mantra of how you work out there tonight?
Oh, I mean, I own the team, Technically, Gary owns Tombstone Motorsports, and I own Unforgiven Motorsports, but we're all pretty much just one big team. Just think of it as a 7-car team, I think, today with Pinnell running. And just a bunch of teammates kind of going the team's Penske route, which is just we want to win, and make the move if you're 100% certain one of your teammates will win. But I'll be honest, I'll throw a block on my own mom to win this race. I want to win this thing so bad.
I mean, looking at your average finish and everything, you've been so close so many times, but let's see how lucky you can be tonight. But according to Tony Stewart there, I see. One more question before we let you get back in the car and make sure you get some last-minute practice here. Obviously, this is the start of the season, and we have many races left here before the playoffs happen and all that. Obviously, like 16 rounds to go off that point. So, a season outlook you're looking for? Do you think you have a positive season ahead on for you and your team?
I'm bound and determined to make the playoffs at the very least, because I missed it last season. I deserve some fault for it, but I don't think it was all my fault. I think I just got put in a lot of bad situations with wrecks. I mean, I got wrecked in 15 out of 16 regular season races, so I want to make the playoffs. That is what I want to do. I want to make the playoffs. I want to win a race and hopefully make the championship.
Well, it's been good talking to you, Blake. We'll let you get back out there. Maybe we'll be talking to you a little bit later. Maybe at the end of this race. Maybe you'll have a trophy in your hand, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But you take care and have a good race.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
And that was Blake Henderson, the 25 for Tombstone Motorsports.
Very interesting racing we have ahead of us tonight. 25 lap stages, plus or minus. Stage 1 will end on lap 25. Stage 2 at lap 65. If the caution falls after lap 20 or after 60, the stage will end in caution, and points will be assigned based on the last green flag lap. So where they lock in after that green last lap, I should say, that's how they will be assigned stage points throughout the race. Initial start is always on the green flag. Restarts will start in the green zone under the leader's control. The leader will be able to choose their lane at the restart if they want high or low. Everybody else will be forced in line as they are assigned. Beautiful conditions here for the race. 67 degrees, clear and cloudy, clear in skies, no humidity. And National Weather Service telling us a wind out of the northeast at 14 miles per hour. Kevin, that's going to create a lot of force on these cars as they try to navigate this track in traffic.
Keep that in mind for starters at the very least. When we had the duels and we had the charity race, the wind was not even close to that. It was 3, 4, 5 miles an hour. It's over double that now. So that can easily have an effect on how these cars handle, especially if you get some old tires on that machine. It can definitely make the car a little bit loosey-goosey, and you could be in a bad situation if that happens. So these drivers have to keep the nerve, keep the throttle pinned, and just deal with the advantages that could bring and try to change their strategies accordingly. I do want to also bring up one more thing as well. We got to worry about in the first stage as well. There is a chance there'll be some fuel saving at the very least, a good chance of it, I should say, as the fuel tanks can be right around the same length as the first stage. So if we don't get any cautions in stage number 1, these drivers may be a bit conservative to make sure they hit the number they need to hit. And in turn, that could be good practice for these drivers in late race situations where they need to save a little bit of fuel. And if we get a caution ill-timed, it can be good practice for the finish. So you're going to see a lot of different fields, a lot of different examples out there where these drivers are going to have to adapt quickly and learn to do it. And if they can do that, they may find themselves in victory lane.
Fuel window is between 22 and 27 laps, so if you're smart about it, you can run the entire stage on one fuel run. Drivers will also have 7 sets of tires, I should say, out there. So although tires don't matter, it will be available to them, especially at the end of the race, where good rubber and used rubber could make all the difference between first and, say, 8th or 9th place. We've seen it all the time at these these giant plate track races. I think you're going to see pit strategy be critical, especially with all these teams running together for the first time this season.
Yeah, this is definitely the practice before the calm before the storm as well, where these drivers can do it. And obviously, this is not the only plate race that will be on this calendar. They go to Daytona obviously the second time, and they go to Talladega once. And I believe they also go to the plate version of Atlanta. But I can correct me if I'm wrong on that one to see Atlanta on the calendar. So I think they do it at least once. So at the very least, this is the first experiment of a couple different times they can do it. And it should be worth noting, Daytona starts the season. Daytona also is the cut race before the chase, or the playoffs, I should say. So it's going to be a situation where this is good practice for when the chips are on the table and when it's crunch time at the end of the season, maybe at night, but this is a good practice. If you don't have a win yet, you could do that. But obviously, that is still 16 weeks away. Right now, these drivers are just looking to get a good finish here. So there's no real reason to think right now playoffs or that. They want the trophy, and that's really all. Some drivers may be in a late situation, want at least finish well, but most of them are gunning for the trophy.
As you mentioned, 23 weeks of racing here in the HTL Series starts tonight at the Daytona 500. Next week we'll be at Fontana for 350 miles there. Las Vegas, Sonoma, Brickyard, all on the docket for through May and into June. Other big flag race, flagship races we'll see Atlanta on June 17th. You mentioned that at the plate version of Atlanta Motor Speedway. Charlotte Motor Speedway will be a 500-mile race on June 1st. Not quite the 600, but still an incredibly long race for them on July 1st. They go to Japan in July 15th for at the Suzuka Circuit East Course for the Japan 200. Of course, bringing back Rockingham on the track for August 5th. And then they end it in two races at Daytona. Once for the 200 on August 12th, and once for the Firecracker 400 on the 19th. So a lot of long races, a lot of really opportunities to be smart and have some time to figure out where you want to be and how we want to race as the season progresses. But you're right, Kevin. Tonight, it's not about who does what or how the strategy works. It's all about winning.
Yes, it is. Again, you got time to make up for those picks. You can see a last-minute practice here as well to ride on board here. John Hagan with the Luigi helmet. So it's quite interesting to see he's rocking that helmet right now. You can see right now, drivers, teammates, alike. This is all happening here as they work together. Again, this is the calm for the storm. After this, once the session warm-up ends, we are going right to the race. No practice qualifying was last week. There's no other warm-ups. This is it. This is the last second practice. You're going to make sure you get all you can out of it now. You want to make sure you feel comfortable with your car, you feel comfortable if you use the bathroom, make sure no wheel problems. You want to be all good where this happens in about 3 and some change here, where it goes. Look at John Hagan already feeling like the drop of flags happen already, ready to make moves, make lane changes, and make anything possible to get that Home Depot car. Well, he's up front, and stay up.
So the lasso, most lead changes we've seen. Just some random facts for you here about the race. Longest race we've had was 11 cautions in Season 3. Least cautions was in Season 1 with only 4. Season 3 and Season 4 both had 28 lead changes. And the Season 3 Daytona 500 had 19. So a lot of very competitive racing as these guys get closer and closer. Oh, big hit there. As these guys get closer to racing with each other and understand the nuances of going back and forth, the racing will get more and more competitive, and you will see these teams fighting as hard as they can to walk away with the trophy tonight. Kevin, we're 2 minutes away from the broadcast. Who are you looking at tonight?
Well, first of all, I want to take this quick chance as well. I'm going to say my prediction in a second, but if you feel as bold as I am, you can vote in the poll with channel points right now. Who will win the HTL Daytona 500 right now? Obviously, the top 6 are on the graph, along with Carmen Sienna, so you can vote that. If you think it's someone that I'm not going to mention or on that graph, you can vote other, so make sure you do that. Use your channel points. Poll is going to end quite quickly, so you make sure you do that right now. But as for my prediction right now, I've been back and forth on this throughout the night, thinking about drivers, thinking about who has the best chance, and I got 3 drive names I'm looking for right now. Obviously, can't count out John Hagan. He's quite a strong driver. He's been very strong on speed weeks. Can't really rule him out anyway. I think he's quite a threat. Secondly, Jeremy Braille. He's looking for that crown victory right now. He's someone that's been strong at every plate race he's at, and almost every plate race I've watched at a season open Daytona. He's been quite strong, and he's won at least 3 out of 4 of those. So he's definitely a driver to keep an eye on. And one more driver to keep an eye on as well. I'm going to point out, I said in the duels, I'm going to say his name again, Seth Wansing. I feel like you can't sleep on the driver. You saw him dual tool. He was quite strong. He's currently 3rd in the times of the charts right now, that 88 machine. I think when the chips are down late on, you're going to see him push to the victory, and I may be someone to keep an eye on as well. But those are my 3 drivers to keep an eye on for tonight's race.
As for me, I'm taking a look at the 81 of Josh Susi, the Lady Liberty Motorsports driver. Had a strong run last week in the duels. We could see him rise to the top again. Lady Liberty, of course, always a threat to win any race they're in. I'm also keeping an eye on Lily Pelletier-Sharp. She was a very strong competitor in both the duels and with her qualifying on the front row. So definitely, even though she may not have as many friends out there as others, she will definitely be one who is going to compete. Watch it be she may be checkers or wreckers out there as we get going. And of course, my third driver to watch is going to be the 21 of Marcus Chafin, working with Unforgiven Motorsports and Tombstone Motorsports. Those Ford Mustangs are going to have a great opportunity here to get some runs in early, get some laps in early, and potentially, if they can work it right, they've got a chance to walk away with the win. So outside of Lily Sharp, I'm taking the field right now.
I think that's quite a good prediction. It's obviously a big field here, 37 cars, so it can't go wrong. 40 cars, I should say. You can't go wrong with betting on the field. But that is session done. We are going to get ready for the main race. So as they're going to spawn on in, let's see the field and let's see the grid.
40 drivers will take the call to tonight's race as we get them on screen here in just a moment. We're going to start off on the front row. You saw him qualify here on AVN last week. John Hagan will start position number 1. Lee Pelletier at number 2. Marcus Chafin and Josh Susi will start in row number 2. Row number 3 belongs to the 74 of Jeremy Brialt in the front, in the inside. Richard Odie on the outside. Position number 7 belongs to the 31 of DeMonte Donson. Dean Clavette will start position number 8. Rounding out row 5, the 91 of Austin Mongold and the 33 of Joshua Gaiman. Kevin.
Moving on further down the field in row 6, we got Alfred Denny and Bobby Flowers making up row 11. Bobby Flowers is an open car. We got, and speaking of another open car, we got Tommy Reynolds and Hunter Peach in row 7. Reynolds being another open car as well. Had to qualify last week to get in. Selena Thompson, Bianca Constantinou in row 8. Constantinou was a driver that was in the Final Four last season. Moving on to row 9, Dustin Hall and DJ Anderson. Obviously, Dustin Hall working hard with Ryan Pinnell last week. We'll see if he keeps that partnership here tonight. Row 10, we got Zachary Meredith and Blake Henderson, 2 strong drivers as well, 1 defending champion, 1 four-time starter. We'll see how it plays out. Joe, you can keep on going.
Pace car is going to take them down the road, and it looks like they're going to go an extra pace lap as we get going. Let's continue down the field in row number 11. Kate Sweat will start in place of Caitlin Height, who will be in the number 3 car tonight in 21st. Lily Frazier on the outside in 22nd. Row number 12 belongs to the 15 of Ryan Pinnell. On the outside of him, the 4 of Zachary Apperson, both starting in row number 13. And row 14 belongs to 22 of Gary Donaldson. Chad Swatsworth, the 18, will also start in row number 14. Row 15 belongs to the 50 of Lilac Zier. Pacey Wygant in the 00 will start on the outside. Kevin?
Yep, row 16, we got Elias Flores and Josh Arnold. Josh Arnold obviously had a Ford duel. There's someone you cannot count out. That'll be row 16. Row 17, Eli Sasson. Another driver had a Ford duel, but someone that was in the final 8 last season. Matthew Boone, another driver with flank him on his outside. Christopher Pendell and Seth Wansing will be in row number 18. Pendell was a winner last season in the truck. Seth Wansing, 2-time champion in another series. Row 19, DJ Trout and Kevin Gibney Jr. Obviously Trout, again, another strong driver along with Gibney. And the last row of the grid, it's Ruby Estes and Tommy Withers bringing up the rear. But again, you can start 40th, you can start first. Every driver in this field has a chance to take home that checkered flag at the end of 125 laps.
3 drivers not able to make the grid tonight because they're not able to qualify in with the 56 of Jonathan Adams, the 64 of William Britton, and the 55 of Caleb Eichler. So Arrowhead Racing missing one. Brett Pham Racing not able to take to the grid, and Caleb Eichler will not make a 4th Stepping Stone Motorsports car tonight. 40 on the field, 2 international entries as well. It's going to make for a very, very entertaining grid, and will all be led by the 44, the Home Depot machine of John Hagan.
Be worth noting, obviously looking at real life lore, the Home Depot machines haven't had the most success at the Daytona in real life, so it's worth noting at this point. So we'll take another look here at the weather one more time to see how it has changed depending depending on during practice, and it's not much of a difference here. Temperature is still 6-7 degrees Fahrenheit. Wind is still quite strong, northeast 14 miles an hour, and it's still clear. But Little Birdie's told me that the wind should at least cool down a little bit as this race goes on, so these drivers at least have a little bit of a reprieve as the session goes on. But obviously, as the wind cools down, the drivers are going to have to change up their styles just a bit as well. So we'll see how, as the race goes on, the temperatures go down maybe a little bit and the sun begins to set. We'll see how these drivers adapt to the ever-changing conditions.
On board John Hagan as he leads them around. Should be one more lap here around Daytona International Speedway before we go green flag racing. What I'm watching right now, Kevin, is the cooler temperatures. Only 67 air temperature, which means the track is much colder than we would normally see for a 500. Will be very grippy. It'll be very easy to drive through, but that can also lull drivers into a false sense of security as they almost can overdrive this car and create problems for themselves. With a grippy track like this, you're not necessarily worried about what the other drivers can do. You're more worried about what you can do to yourself.
Yeah, right now looking at the track temperatures on my own record here, it is 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, like you were saying, Joe, it is a very grippy track, and it can leave some false positives knowing what you can and can't do. So again, got to be careful. Can't play with house money here. You got to be conservative and make sure you know, all right, this is what the track is. You got to have those numbers in the back of your mind. You got to be willing to make adjustments when possible if you want to have a chance to pull on this victory. And it looks like we are going to be done with warm-up here in a second here, and I think we're going to get this show on the road.
Pace car leading them through turns 3 and 4. This is it. This is what everyone's been waiting for in the offseason. This is what they've been waiting for through the charity race into the duels, and now it's all on the line. Get your bets out. Put your money on the table. This is the race everybody in HTL Hold the Line Racing has been waiting for. The pace car makes the hard right turn, and we are down to racing. John Hagan will lead them to the first of 125 laps at Daytona International Speedway.
The four Fords line up in front of you. Going hard bottom. Don't get yourself turned scattered. There you go. Get yourself ready. Right hard bottom. Hard bottom. Hard bottom. Hard bottom. Pushing you by one. Come on. 3/4. That's up. Give it up. Give it up. Don't worry about it. By 2, by 3, 7.5. He's lane up here. Lane up outside. 3 mid.
Alright, as we see lap 1 about to be in the books here, and you can see it's going to be John Hagan leading the inaugural lap of the season with Marcus Chafin pushing behind here. You can see on the outside, Louis Peltier-Sharp getting some help from Joshua Sosi, so not much has really changed up front. You can see in the far shots there, cars starting to make a little bit of moves, go high, low, high, low. Right now, that outside line is beginning to lose a little bit of momentum here as cars begin to flock away from it, but obviously, opportunity breeds chance, and cars will bounce in and out. You can already see a car blinking a little bit. That looks like it's Bobby Flowers, so I hope you can keep that in mind.
Physics being the major play right now is everybody is on the low side. You have more cars down low than you do down high, and that creates one heck of a wind tunnel that just drags everybody along with it. Sharp on the high side, not able to get any love except for that driver of the 81 machine. That driver, of course, Josh Susi, in the gold USPS machine, doing everything he can to push a Sharp all the way up front, but with no help out there, they're just going to get left behind as the low line continues to charge.
Yeah, right now, obviously, lines will change. Flows will happen during the race. We saw during the duels. The outside line is where you want to be. Right now, that inside line is the smart place to be. Looks like one driver has lost the packet. Christopher Pendell is way off the pace here. I see him on my mini-map. So he's going to have to make sure he keeps the throttle going here. Right now, again, only car really with a chance of going a lap down. But right now, that is not where you want to be this early on in the race. But up front, again, we talked about early on, fuel concerns could be a bit of a point here in this stage. We have to save a little bit. But at the same point, if you want to pit, the inside line's where you want to be. So right now, I think these drivers, again, being a bit conservative because you can't win it on lap number 1.
Everyone showing a little bit of conservative run out there. I think you're right. They're trying to conserve as much fuel as they can, try to make it a full run on for this stage. They can make it. It's just a matter of how conservative they want to run, how conservative will everyone else around them run, and can they get in the radio, do some horse trading to say, hey, if I run this speed, will you push me? If I run with you, how long will you follow me through? You see that now with 81 and 77. They are working as hard as they very well to keep pace, but not too much pace, as they just try to keep it straight going on the high line.
There's also that thing as well, when you're on the high line, there you go, it's the longer way around per se, so you're burning a little bit more fuel down that inside line. However, there's also that strategy as well on the high line where you can pin it to the high side and keep it a little bit closer to the wall and save a little bit of fuel that way. So there's that interesting strategy at the very least where you kind of want to be on the O line and make that fuel go a little bit better here at the very least. And also, you got to keep an eye on Hagan and the 71 is Sharp, because if they keep leading this train here, they're going to burn a little bit more fuel than everyone else right now. So at the moment right now, Hagan likes leading the race, he likes leading it, but at some point it may be in his best interest to drop back just a tiny bit here, let maybe Chafin pass or let someone ahead so he can get in the draft and save a little bit of fuel.
They talked about this earlier in the race. Arrowhead working with Unforgiven Motorsports to try to keep them up front and keep everything going. So the 44 getting the shove from Marcus Chafin out there, and don't look now. Here comes Sharp on the high side. Looks like she might have a little more help in that high run. And now the 44 is going to block high. The 77 gives him a shove, and John Hagan continues to lead, but now that he's on the high line, how long will he hold that lead for? Chafin on the low side isn't going to be patient for very long.
Hagan saw something he liked on the high side, and right now it is working, and now it will allow the chance of the 71 or 81 to jump low if they so choose. But right now, again, Hagan not really heeding the advice of the booth. He wants to lead. He feels like he can back down the lines if necessary to get the fuel company he needs. But right now, Hagan, all he sees is the front. He wants to lead, and he wants to do something not a lot of drivers have done. Because we look at previous trends right now, the driver that's led the most laps in a race the past 3 seasons and won the race only led about 14, 12, and 10 laps. So we haven't seen in a long time a driver leading a lot of laps in one of these races.
The 71 was shoving the 44 all the way around the racetrack for a lap there, and maybe decided that discretion is the better part of valor. She will drop down to lead the low line in front of the 21 of Chafin. And now a lot of drivers going to go high now that Hagan's leading up there. Josh Soucy's up there. Richard Odie, an independent driver, is up there. Zach Meredith and Dean Clavette will all check that. Dean Clavette will go low this time, and Clavette may want to try to make a run in that snap-on machine.
Yep, right now, again, it's about finding friends where you can find them. Obviously, we talked about alliances. Some of these drivers are in team chats with other ones, and it's about making the works where you can. But right now, again, it's still the John Hagan show up front. Obviously, defending champion and defending race winner Joshua Soucy sitting in second. And he was helped out a little bit by Richard Odie last week in heat number 2, so obviously they have a little bit of a allegiance together, at least in the heat. But when it comes to teams, it's a bit different story. But right now, that inside line is getting the charge back.
And the inside line may take it away as Sharp gives the shove to the 90 of Clavette, as 74 now is forced to go down low. Big trouble now brewing behind them, 3 wide back to 2x2 lanes. And now they're going to sort it out one more time. They're going to get it figured out as the 78 and 7 have to figure out where they want to go, being stuck in that vertex back there.
Yeah, 78's right now in the sucker hole, and he will not have really a chance to go high or low. We're right on board with him, trying to side draft to find something he can do. Find a lane, maybe show him some mercy, but it looks like it's not going to be the case here. He's going to keep going back and back and back here. Eventually, he'll have to find a lane. He'll go to the high side here and slot in. But you can see in the wide shot, actually, we'll see in a second here, you can see how it's made 2 different packs here at the moment. You have a bit of a breakaway with about a 6-car pack, and if you see the second pack here, you can see right now they're a bit racy. So at the very least, there's a bit of a concern that if they don't get trained up here in a second, they could end up maybe losing a little bit of touch distance here. So they have to make sure they stay aligned right now to make sure they don't allow that 6-car breakaway to pull away a little bit too far and take them out of contention to get some good stage points.
In the front pack, Dean Clavette will drop out of the lead, go under the double yellow line and give up 3 spots. And now your leader for the first time, Lily Peltier Sharp, the French driver, will lead lap number 9. Marcus Chafin in second, Josh Soucy in third. John Hagan, your pole sitter, has moved back to top 5. Back in, still in the top 5, but in 5th position. Low line, the dominant line. As you're right, everybody now conserving fuel, want to make it all 25 laps without going down pit lane.
If you make that pit lane mistake right now, you will pit. You probably won't lose a lap, but if you get out with no help, I think if you're a little bit farther back, you actually could lose a lap. It's about place and time that can play that fact. The one car that's right now at a risk of getting caught here, I talked about it a little bit earlier, Christopher Pendel right now is coming out of 4 right now. Pack's obviously in the middle of 3 and 4, and you can see right there he is in that Pepsi machine. He was obviously the fastest driver during the charity race at the very least, but right now he's had a heavy chance here getting put 1 down, and that's another factor you'll see at the very least. Obviously right now it's 1 car, but you know these drivers maybe communicate with him, say, do you want low, do you want high? And he's going to have to pick a line and stick with it. But at the very least, with it being very trained up on the low line, that will at least help Pendel at least a tiny bit, and it will very least allow him to go high here. But when it gets later on in the race, drivers get racy, you're going to see that point where if a lap car comes up, he's not going to lift, and he's going to hold one line and could take an effect there. You see one car pulling way out of line. That is the 17 of Meredith. He wants to lead that high lane and make something happen.
His lead may be cut short as they catch up now to the 94 of Pendel. The Pepsi machine is going to have a lot of company here real quick as Lily Sharp, Marcus Chafin, Josh Susie come online, and now the high line starting to charge right back. John Hagan will lead around the 17 of Meredith, the 91 of Brialt, and the 7 of Tommy Reynolds. Alliances be damned right now. Now it's about running high, and the Pied Piper will take them high as the 94 gets caught in traffic.
Yeah, right now that's going to slow down inside line, that low line of Clavet and Brault, and they're going to be a bit of a effect here. Pendel, though, going to pull way low here, but the damage has already been done, and it's going to cause a bit of a checkup here, but luckily, again, with the stage, car going around, that's the 3 of Sweat. She's going to have to go through the road there, the road course, and it looks like she's going to hit the wall just a bit. She's not going to be stopped. It's only one car, so caution is very low to be called here, and that's not what Kate Sweat wanted to see.
Kate Sweat coming in as a debutante for Caitlin Height, who's not able to race tonight. Kate Sweat will go around, and that will put her in position 38, still on the lead lap, but not for very much longer. Green flag continues, and looks like we got some trouble on the front of the track.
7 to be on Constantinu. Sorry to cut you off there. Just saw it go a bit slow. They hit the outside wall. The drivers were maybe calling a bit of a caution, but that's caused a bit of a breakaway here. You'll see right there, there's a 57 to Constantinu, and a little bit up right around Richard Odie. You'll see an effect there. They have now probably lost the draft here. As you can see, pack and pack here, or maybe it may be a bit intentional, but at the very least right now you can see different packs beginning to form because of these last 2 mistakes. Pendel luckily is hitched a ride in one of these grooves, so if more cars get put a lap down here before the stage ends, he can maybe pick them off one by one here and help his chances out of getting back on the lead lap before the stage, after the stage break ends.
So as a result of all of that, of the chaos, all of the results, the 81 will now be credited as your leader. Josh Susie trying to deliver in the USPS machine. John Hagan now 2nd, Zach Meredith 3rd, Austin Mongold 4th, and Tommy Reynolds rounds out your top 5. Lily Sharp drops all the way back to 9th as a result of all this, and we are starting to see them spread out here on the track.
Yeah, right now they're racing 2 by 2, so fuel concerns may not be as much of a concern, or maybe they hit their numbers that they want. But because those little incidents right there, you can see pack of 4, pack of 3, pack of 3, pack of 5, and actually, sorry, a pack of 2, and then another pack of 2 there a little bit further back. And as you can just see right now, that's not going to help because you need numbers to get pulled up. Obviously, you can get a certain amount of cars and maybe make it work 4, 5, 6, but being in packs of 3, 4, 5, and a whole pack you're up front. Right now, the lucky thing is that with so few laps at the stage, they won't have any real risk going lap down, and in turn, they'll avoid any chaos that may happen in this lead pack. However, there's a chance that they could end up not getting any stage points because they're so far back.
Zachary Meredith currently being scored as your leader. 2 lanes still running up front, and those cars still bunched up together, all trying to collect each other and try to make as good of a run as they can out there. Try to keep that line together and keep racing. We got problems with the track.
That was an 8-cent car there. The number 91 of Austin Mongold got right in front of, I think, the 9, if I'm not mistaken. And we saw that in Heat 2, the 8-cent cars, 8-cent racing, I should say, were having mistakes and were having issues and having bad luck. And it looks like it's contended on at least a little bit in speed weeks here. And there's Mongold, front clip torn off the car. And that is going to be a fix he's going to have to fix. But at the very least, though, the question is, can he get that fixed, or is he going to have to burn one of his precious faster pairs? Only time will tell on that one. Or at least at the very least, it looks like it's keeping the speed. But I think we got a replay here. Joe, why don't you take us what happened here when the replay pulls live?
The 90. We're gonna wait just a second on that replay, but as we see it, it looks like the 91 and 7 just had a miscommunication there. The Ascent Racing driver, the 91, that is Austin Mongold, a rookie out here tonight. Looks like he went high, opened the door for the 7 machine. The 7 machine belongs, of course, to Tommy Reynolds, one of the Arrowhead drivers out there, and the 7, getting too ambitious, catches the 91 on the hook, and that is going to take out all the reascent drivers, give all the reascent drivers some damage. The 99 of Elias Flores is involved. Of course, the 91 of Austin Mongold is involved, and I believe that was the 9 of Eli Sasek that was involved as well.
You are correct. That is the 3 involved here. We'll take another look here again. You can just see Mongold goes just a bit high, and right on the corner pen, Le7 gets, and that sends the 91 around to the inside line. Good avoidance. Actually, that Ascent car on the inside, the 99 of Flores, also gets a piece. So 3 cars, all for Ascent Racing, end up having mistakes here as well. Also, the 8, I believe that is, takes a little bit of a damage too. So that's the risk of running kind of aggressive here at the very least, or in bad lines. That can end up playing a factor here. And luckily, again, minor contusions for some of these cars, and it ends up playing. I think we're going to have an onboard shot here, I believe, of Carmen Sienna, if I'm not mistaken.
96 having a view of all of that. Let's follow along inside from the 96 of Sienna. You see her running on that high side. Is going to get a great view of the chaos. She'll go low, and that decision to go low may have saved her car as she can go under the line and avoid all of that drama out there. So great move by Carmen Sienna. That will keep her running nice and clean throughout the race. Pit stops going on right now. A lot of drivers electing to go down pit road, several electing not to, and I believe we will have a new leader on the field as a result.
You would be correct. Zachary Meredith, the Season 3 champion, is going to inherit the lead here because of these pit stops, and they think they can make it to the end on the fuel they have, while these drivers want to come in, top off, make sure, and obviously some drivers come in and fix the damage that they ended up making on. Speaking of, we also saw an onboard shot of Carmen Sienna. If you do want to watch her full perspective of this race, tune on to ABN Esports 2. You can put it on a second monitor if you wish, and you can watch her perspective and see what she sees during the race. And one more thing, looking in the chat as well, I've seen someone talking about a fast pair. In HTL's rules and regulations, the drivers on the super speedways do have one faster pair if they need it, but every other week, and that is not a plate race or a super speedway race, they will have no faster pairs for their trouble. So these drivers at least get a little bit of a parachute here if a major accident happens, but you're not going to drive stupidly aggressive with that in your mind, because if you burn out lap 15, if chaos eventually happens, which it usually happens in these super speedway races, there's always that risk that you may end up losing it and being out of this race quite quicker than you want to be.
Going to the prediction, speaking of the chat, going to the predictions right now, Lily Sharp is the leader in all of that. 11,000 channel points on the 71 of Sharp to win tonight's race. The field, the second biggest lead at with 10,010 points. Josh Susie, 2,500 points, and your pole sitter, John Hagan, only 1,050 points, predicting him to win the race. So very interesting how a lot of people are taking the field out here as opposed to some of these top drivers. But Batelier Sharp, so far, the favorite out there. Not so much a favorite on the track, but the favorite of the chat as we get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing.
You've got a very vocal audience that loves her and supports her, and you see that on these chats right now. And they are definitely coming out with their channel bits and making it happen. We got about 2 minutes and 22 seconds left on the chat. So the poll, I should say. The chat will run all night. But with the poll, you only got about 2 minutes to go. So if you want to vote, now will be the time to vote. Make your voice heard, and we'll see if you can cash in your awards at the end. And also, that's the advantages of watching these streams live. You'll get to participate in the chat and predict who will win these races. So there is always those perks to make that happen. At the moment, we have 39 cars still in the lead lap. Pendo was able to get their lap back. With only one car behind the wall, it's Ruby Estes that will be out behind the race here. So 39 cars still in contention to win this race.
Did you make a points prediction, Zach? I'm sorry, Kevin?
I did vote. I'm not going to say who I voted for, but
okay.
I think we're going to keep that. Obviously, want to keep it a little bit clean at the very least. Don't want to have any manipulation in my opinions. But I will say one thing. You got to go with the field when you have 40 cars, 39 cars going at the moment. It's better to go with about 32 instead of 7.
Well, you just dipped your hand there at who you put your points on.
Maybe I'm doing a bluff here at the very least. You never know.
Zachary Meredith will continue to lead. 4 laps led for the driver of that 17 machine. So when we go back to Green Flag Racing coast to coast, will take the lead. But his teammates, Pacey Wydrip and Josh Arnold, nowhere to be found near him. Pacey Wydrip restarts 6th, and Josh Arnold in the 17, or sorry, check that, in the 2 will start well behind, all the way back in position number 38. Pace car makes the hard left turn down pit road, and for the first time in the Geico restart zone, we're under command of Meredith. Meredith hits the lap pedal and immediately gets a shove from John Hagan. We're back to racing.
that's what we'll see kind of throughout this night here, especially on these late restarts. Cars will push other cars as quickly as they can. Obviously, this early on, you're not going to see Chafin be as aggressive trying to make moves happen here, but later on, you're going to be trying to time that as quick as you can. Make sure you get down the loud pedal as quick as you can to make sure something can happen. Right now, obviously, a little bit argy-bargy here. Not maybe not argy-bargy was the right word, but maybe a bit spaced out here at the very least as cars pick lanes here. Meredith does not want to launch up, but it looks like the two Airhead cars trying to lock up to the front, and Meredith almost threw an aggressive block on Hagen and almost sent both of them to the shadow realm, but luckily, keep it all pointing in the right direction.
Hagen makes a very aggressive move, assisted by the 7 of Tommy Reynolds. The two Arrowhead cars now challenging for the lead. The 17 doesn't want to give it up. The 00 also rushing really aggressive. The 00 belonging to Pacey Wygen. So now Pacey Wygen in the mix trying to help his teammate as the 44 gets into the wall. 3 wide into turns 1 and 2.
3 wide for the lead here. Hagen's got no help in that third lane. Problem is, he's very close to the wall. We'll see if he can find a way down. But up front, it's still Pacey Wygen trying to get their first taste of the lead here tonight. But Meredith not going to allow that to happen. Still side by side. One car checking on out here. Going to go low. Wants to go to the back. Not worth crashing the car here this early on. But up front, it's still 2 by 2 here. The 18th Swatsworth came within a corner last year of winning the championship. Trying to put Wygen ahead here. You can see Reynolds and the Arrowhead contingency lined up on the high side.
Meanwhile, the man who would be king, John Hagen, drops about 15 positions after making contact with the wall. He's going to need a little bit of help to get back to where he was. Score him officially in position number 15. 2 by 2, they continue to run, and now it is the Coast to Coast Racing Show. As they have the 17 up front, 00 on the bottom.
Right now, let's see how this all plays at the moment. Obviously, an inside line. This is, again, we're at stage 1, and you see this ideology at this point. You want to see whether or not you're going to lift. Obviously, some drivers want stage points and they need them late on. Other drivers don't really care, and this is where the aggression plays out in these points, because it depends on how much you really want stage points. So sometimes these ends of stages can be so aggressive, you may see even more aggressive than the race finish, because drivers want to get those crucial points. Right now, as you can see right there, Reynolds going high, now going low, right in front of the 00. Almost got himself a turn, but right now he will take the lead, doesn't lead the lap, as we'll ride on board here with Carmen Sienna all the way up to 6 right now, so there's a bit of an accordion effect on the low side.
The rookie Tommy Reynolds making a very aggressive move in front of those two Coast to Coast Racing drivers, and now he's going to lead, but for how long? You know he's got a bunch of angry Hornets behind him. Carmen Sienna, trying to catch up to him, may not be able to help, as now they continue to push. The 17 getting help from the 20, the 00 almost trying to push the 7 out, a little wobbly out there, trying to use the chrome horn to make him force an error and get the Coast to Coast racers on the lead.
Listening to the radio chats right now, I hear Carmen Sienna on the actual iRacing chat, trying to direct a bit of traffic here, kind of letting the people behind her know that what's going on, what's happening at the very least. And I'm keeping an eye on this further pack here right now. They are getting very aggressive just outside the top 10 here for stage points, as they are racing hard for that point. Aggressive side drafting and whatnot further back, but up front, it's still the Wygen Reynolds show. The question is, maybe we'll try to make a third turn happen on that high side, and we'll see if that can happen, as we're going to come next time by to 2 to go in the stage. The question is, what will you do for a stage win?
The Coast to Coast drivers know what they want to do. They're going to hook up, and they're going to try to shove each other all the way around in front of the 7. The 17 gets a great run on 0, so Pacey Wygen now going to be scored as your leader. The 17 of Zach Meredith giving him a great push, and now here comes the 20 of Hunter Peach. He's going to go down low, try to ruin their day. The NFG Motorsports driver, he's not saying NFG, he's saying LFG, as he now backs up to the 7 and tries to get a push from the Arrowhead driver.
It's going to be worth noting that with the stage break about to happen here, pit lane has been officially closed. It closes with 2 laps to go at the end of the stage, so you have to make emergency service. You will start at the tail end of the longest line if that happens. These drivers know now they have to run to the finish and have to make it happen here. But again, Marcus Chafin now leading that low line right now, getting some help by Ryan Pinnell, and it looks like that Reese's Cup peanut butter machine is looking to go here. But look at Blake Henderson, maybe trying to make a third line. It looks like Meredith is going to get sucker hold.
Meredith's going to get sucker hold as across the line. It will be the 00 of Peach continuing to lead. Now you got the 25 of Blake Henderson, the Tombstone driver, in the mix as well. The 81 back up there, Josh Susi in the mix. It's going to be a chaotic finish as well as everyone has switched positions. Now how bad do you want it? and how bad and what are you willing to do to get that win? We're about to find out here as I go through 3 and 4.
Spots have just hit the wall back there. Cars making evasive action. Henderson going low here, but he doesn't have much help at the moment. That could put him in a bad disadvantage. You can see right now it's going to take forever to get the bump. Chafin almost gave a bad bump. As we come off of 4 right now, the question is, will the car in second place associate step out? He will, but will he have any help here? It looks like he's not. So coming to the end of stage number 1, it's going to be Pacey Wygant taking the stage as Gaiman tried to steal it at the death. Right now my scoring is still saying Gaiman, but I think it's going to flash back here. Yes, it is. So Wygant wins stage number 1. Gaiman almost tried to steal it.
So Pacey Wygant comes out from grids in 30th, will lead the first stage, and he will pick up the first 10 stage points given out on the season. So Pacey Wygant, winner of stage 1. Joshua Gaiman, the the Valfreya Motorsports driver, will finish second. Selena Thompson comes from 15th to finish third. John Hagan, who was the leader, will finish in 4th, and Josh Susie, who was leading laps earlier in the race, will finish in position number 5. No big surprises in the top 10. Just very interesting to see some of the drivers who started way back. We're talking about 30th position, 20th, 25th, 29th. All these drivers now coming up through the field to make their mark on the race.
We're going to take a replay here right now. We're taking a little bit further back here at the very least. You can see right there at the very end of the stage here. Actually, looks like we're now going to go back until, actually, we're going to replay the final lap here. And you can see right there, Wygant well clear. You can see Henderson tried to make something happen, but no help by Chafin there. And now you're going to see Sosi try to go low. But again, that inside line, no momentum, no help. Gaiman did not go with. And then it's between Gaiman and Wygant. Gaiman tries to sneak into the death, but Wygant kept the speed, and look how close that baby is for stage 1. The 00 Pacey Wygant wasn't here for the duels and qualifying. Brian Jones had to qualify that car, and it looks like he hasn't lost a step here for not being in that car as he wins stage number 1. And look how close it is further back for all those other positions.
Lots of drivers fighting as hard as they can, tooth and nail, hammer and tong, what have you. And they will, but the field is locked right now. The only thing that will switch it up is what's going to happen on pit road. I know I saw the 44 come down pit road, and I think we're going to see some other drivers come down this time by. Pit road is open. Pacey Wygant will lead them down. Josh Gaiman, Selena Thompson, Josh Susie, Blake Henderson, Ryan Pinnell, all coming down to the attention of their crews. Bianca Constantino, also as well. Hunter Peach, Carmen Sienna, Tommy Reynolds. Basically everybody who was on the lead lap is coming down to the attention of their crews. And I guarantee you they're all looking for the same thing. 4 tires and a full tank of virtual Sunoco racing fuel.
Pit lane being a very crowded place here at the very least. A lot of cars taking a pit stop opportunity here. And to see drivers coming down right now.
Race off pit road, hitting racy to begin with as everybody gets off from their crew, and it looks like the first driver to come off pit road will be the 50 of Lilac Zier stayed out on the track. So Zier will continue to run. Joshua Gaiman looks like the first one to come off track. Selena Thompson, second. Joshua Susie, third. Ryan Pinnell, fourth. And Blake Henderson, fifth. I'm looking for the lead car, and I don't see him anywhere in that first group. I don't see.
Oh, all right. I was going to let you know about Pacey Wygant there.
Yeah,
Sorry
please.
to cut you off, but I want to say I saw him. He took 4 tires, and I was going to bring up. Actually, it looks like he had some damage repairs. He had about a 37-second pit stop there, so he lost a lot of time here. John Hagan is still stationary at pit lane, by the way, so it looks like he also had a pit for a long time as well. There's Pacey Wygant, 4 laps led, but some drivers took different strategies here. Obviously saw Lilac Zier. She stayed out. Second to about 10th took fuel only for the most part, and then when you get a little bit further back, you see Carmen Sienna, Constantino, Peach took 4 tires. So differing strategies here at stage number 1, and a few drivers maybe take the opportunity to fix up the cars and make sure they get all nice and patched up before stage number 2 starts.
Hagan did have some extended stop as he had to get that right side repair done on his car, get it straightened back out again, and he will now be at the tail end of the lead lap. He should cycle through to about 35th, 37th position as we continue to go around the field. The 97 Ruby Estes not on the track, so it'll be a total of 39 drivers who took the call to race, and right now they're being led by the 50 of Lilac Zier, the Stepping Stone Motorsports driver.
We'll see how that plays out at the very least. Obviously, we got the one to go for stage here, and it's Zier and Gaiman on the front row. Obviously, they have 7 sets of tires, so these drivers can use them if necessary. You're not going to really need to use the tires as much as other tracks, so they are there if you need it. The car gets a little bit loose, and we'll see how these drivers play it out. Obviously, as we go through the calendar, other tracks will need tires more than other ones, but right now, Zier feels confident that she has the fuel, and she did come in at lap 16 to top off, so she'll have about a 10-lap difference, but there is a bit of concern. If this stage goes long and she has to come down, she'll be traveling down the lonesome pit lane most likely alone, so she needs kind of a quick caution maybe to get back on sequence here with the other drivers.
But it also could be playing the race in backwards too. If she's able to get on a different pace and he's able to get in a pace that benefits her, especially towards the end where she has fuel and the other drivers do not, that may end up in her advantage when she can stay out and keep going when everyone else is forced to go down pit road. But you said it right there, Kevin. Any caution flag changes everything for all the drivers out here, and then you got to make the very difficult decision. Do I come down pit road with everybody? Do I try to stay out? How do I sequence this? We'll have another 25 laps for them to sequence this as we get ready to go back to green flag racing.
And yeah, and that's a good practice. Obviously, we may have another green flag. We'll be able to see if the drivers can stretch it out. So obviously, the fuel wins about 22, 27 laps. So we'll see if they can stretch it and make it work. But the same risk, there's also, as we'll see on as we get to the end stage here, there possibly looms green flag pit stops. If they happen, getting these cautions here, pitting under caution, doesn't get you really ready for the real thing if there are green flag pit stops. But right now, looks like the pace car is going to get ready here to pull off, and it's going to be on Zier's control in the restart zone.
The 50, the 33, the 27, all getting ready to go green flag racing. Lilac Zier in control of the field as we enter the Geico restart zone. One more time, green flag, and a slow start for everybody. Zier now getting the run as Joshua Gaiman getting shoved by Josh Susie. Here comes Selena Thompson. It will be about Freya Motorsports second, third, and they might try to hook up and start making a run here.
See here right now, obviously a little bit further back here. They're going to get linked up on the inside line here. You can see right there in the bump shop, middle shot there. Don't want to end up pushing into corners though, because that is quite a risk, especially with the chance of spinning the car out and making a mistake if the car is not ready. But having at least allegiance can work out here. Now linked up and try to push clear here. Zier obviously lost a little time. You saw Gaiman sneak around the high side, but now linked back up. We'll see if that 27 can push that 50 back towards relevancy.
Another allegiance that's putting together right now, the 25 and 15. Tombstone Motorsports and Unforgiven have a bit of an alliance together. I thought the 15 and 25 may work, but Blake Henderson says, I'm going to run with this high line as hard as I can, and he will leave the 15 behind. So the 33 of Gaiman, officially your leader. The 81 of Susie in second. Lilac Zier is still holding on, but that high side starting to be the preferred line once again.
That's a reversal of fortune from stage one. The low line was the place you want to be. The high line is now where you want to be for stage number 2 as you ride on board with Joshua Sosie's bumper camera. We get a nice little under check of the rear carriage of the 33 of Josh Gaiman. But at the very least, though, you can see getting conservative, not pushing where it's too aggressive, just holding the line and making sure they stay up front and keep their dominance clear on that high line. Right now, again, 3 cars well clear on that inside line, so they're doing a good job on that high line.
And look who's back in that mix as well, the Pepsi of Ford Mustang of Chris Pendell. He was a lap down for Premier Racing Club. Now he's in the thick of it, running in 7th position. It just goes to show you that this is a non-linear sport. You can go a lap down in one stage and then be fighting for the lead in stage number 2.
Yeah, one thing I'm kind of noticing right now, Marcus Chapin had to come down pit lane. We saw him dominating stage number 1. Right now, he was alone on pit lane there for a little bit of a long time. Still on the lead lap, though. We'll keep an idea and see what exactly happened. But Pendell, sometimes you've got to keep your nose in it, keep your nose to the grindstone, and when life throws you lemons, you got to make lemonade. Right now, it's working on. Now riding on board with the 33 of Josh Gaiman here again. You can see, even though it's a virtual car, you know he's got his eyes in that mirror right now, just making sure he watches the lanes and makes what he needs to do happen.
And look who's leading the low line again. It's a 71 of Lily Sharp, continuing to run aggressive on the track. She's going to try to lead the low line to the promised land, and has so far done that. Pulled around the 57 machine that belongs to Bianca Constantino, the other international driver, but with a lot of help down there, the 77's going to need some friends, something, in order to start pushing forward.
Two international drivers look like they'll link up here on that low line. And remember, Constantino was another driver that pulled in the punches and got back high in stage number 2. So again, you got to take the advantage when you can. But the Sharp almost wasn't really ready for that. It looked like maybe she was thinking about taking the middle groove there, but she'll think better of it and tuck back in low here. But now they really got to get that left line moving here. They really want to get towards the front.
High line continues to be the place to be as Gaiman leads Susie, Henderson, Pendel around turns 1 and 2, and everyone liking that little bit of air cushion that comes off the wall, giving them a little bit of boost as they run high. The 8 machine of Callie Height also in the mix for the first time, getting the shove from the 88 of Seth Wansing. 3 8s all working together. That's got to be some numerology thing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to check my horoscope at the very least, my astrology sign, to see if they knew that was in the stars to make it happen. But at the very least, though, you can see working high line, working low line, and like you were talking about earlier, Joe, we're seeing drivers in this top 10 right now that we haven't really talked about all tonight here at the very least. Drivers that started a little bit further back, who just kind of riding around. Well, now they got a chance to shine towards the front, get the sponsors up front, get the sponsors happy, and even in the middle pack there, I spy with my little eye a 3 FedEx machine. Remember, Sweat hit the inside wall. Kate Sweat hit the inside wall. Didn't get a caution called. Luckily got caught back out with another caution later. Now she's riding on that inside line right now, really making good progress here. So again, is now we actually ride on 4th and 3 in the fill-in roll. She's doing a good job right now, keeping her head clean. Even though she's 20th, it's, again, a good performance for a debutante.
Great performance for a debutante, taking over the 3 for Caitlin Height, as now the 57 and 77 have gotten their stuff together. It looks like check out 71 and the 57 have gotten some stuff together. They're getting some help down low, and now the 57 is charging for the lead. Going to try to take it away from Gaiman. If they can stay linked up, they might have a shot.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that all plays at the very least. But now that inside line is making moves, making money, making bread as they're going towards the front. They feel confident here. Question is now, what will Gaiman do in that 33? I think I got a chance. He may jump low here, but right now he still feels locked up with that 81, so maybe I was a little bit wrong in the prediction. But again, right now, just got to ride what you got.
Gotta ride the hot hand, smoke if you got him, as they used to say out in the military. Joshua Gaiman continues to lead. Now here comes the 57. The 57 of Constantino all the way up, and we may have a new leader. We will have a new leader when we go through the tri-oval. Bianca Constantino, the Romanian driver, position number 1. Lily Sharp, position number 3.
That's teammates 1, 2, 3 on that low line for Stepping Stone Motorsports. So they're linked up. They feel like they got a chance here to make something happen. While on that high line, it's a link up for Valkyrie Motorsports as they are trying to make something happen on the high line. So again, actually, it's Valkyrie and Liberty. They have allegiance together, I should say. Make sure I get the names right on that one. But anyway, Constantino, though, making sure on that high side, they're making it work here. And Gaiman on that high side as well, trying to make something happen. And the question is now side by side, 2x2, 2x2, as far as the eye can see. The question is, what will happen?
The Valkyries running high, trying to make something work in Valkyrie Motorsports, and they continue to run as high as they can. The two drivers shoving each other forward. Susie for Lady Liberty and Gaiman for Valkyrie Motorsports, as we have a car off pace there. We'll have to catch up who that is in a minute. 2x2 they go, no major changes. Everybody now looks like they're in conservation mode. Want to hold off what they can, want to make sure they get the most out of this tank and see if they can get to lap 65 or lap 60 without any major incidents.
Feels like a game with Indiana Jones. You ever seen the movie where he's running away from the boulder and has to slide under it and get out before it all goes, up? So at the very least, they're doing a good job at the very least. To answer your question, Joe, who that was the 21 of Marcus Chafin, who had to come in for emergency service in the middle of stage 2 there. Now he's officially gone 1 down. Problem is he did not get linked up with Pat here. So he's got to hope the stage ends kind of quickly or a caution comes out, because there's a really good chance he can go down 2 before the stage ends. And if that happens, he goes from a fixable problem to a very hard problem to fix if that happens.
Let's run on board now with Carmen Sienna, the 96 machine, stuck in traffic, but you can see just how smooth traffic is running back there in the field. She's currently sitting position number 15, but again, everybody now in conservation mode. No one's shoving as hard, no one's working as hard to keep moving forward. Now they're all content with where they're at. Nobody wants to tip the apple cart. Nobody wants to be the person who starts the caution flag. Because number 1, we know cautions breed cautions, and number 2, if a caution flag comes out now, everybody's pit strategy is thrown out the window.
Yeah, right now only one driver's hoping for a caution. It's that 21. And I think as Carmen would love to say, you want a caution sometimes, you don't want to be in the caution at the very least. We saw just a blink there for a second. I think that was the 9 Assassin. Looks like it's holding on at the very least. But again, that's another concern, especially in the virtual world. If the connection's a bit poor and you're blinking a bit, you may be told you have to get out of line, get out of the way, because if your cable connection's not stable, especially at a track like this, it could easily lead to problems. So luckily, though, it settled out with just a quick blink. But for drivers that may have consistent problems, they may be told to leave the pack here. Right now, everyone's connection is holding out quite strong. And now you can see on that low side, Seth Wanzing leading the charge, trying to get towards the front.
The NFG Toyota Camry trying everything we can to try to lead the front of the promised land, but no dice. 4 cars still in front of him as they continue to run. It's Gaiman, Susie, Henderson, Pindell, your top 4.
Yes, indeed. We're going to see right now, again, high and low line working out here. And again, high line really pulling their strings here. Again, that low line really not been the strongest point in stage number 2 as they were in stage number 1.
Let's go ahead and take a little bit of look at how important the draft is. We've got another car driver. Let's stay with this for one more lap because we have a lot of traffic moving around. The 18 just jumped down low. That's check that. The 18 belongs to Chad Swatsworth, the one of the Arrowhead drivers tonight. Chad Swatsworth will come down the low line, hooked up with his teammate, the rookie Tommy Reynolds. And they're going to try to make a run down low. The problem is they don't have nearly the cars or the support that the low line has. So the high line continues to be the place to go. Now let's go ahead and take a look at how important the draft is. Kevin, walk us through what this draft does.
Well, you're here with Professor Young here in a 101 on the draft. As you can see right there, the arrow effects right on the car. Green is the arrow push in red. That's a clean little pocket where it makes it very easy for a car to get in the draft, as you can see by the HTL car. And right now, at the very least, you can see as 2 cars work together, the air pushes against each other and makes the cars go faster. As you can see, linked together, they make it happen. Because now as they get closely linked together there, you can see the cars go even faster. So the closer you can get to the rear end of a car, you can make it really go faster. And as you'll see here, as we get in a second, nice and zoom up here, you can see that these cars are actually touching. You can see there's no separation there at the very least, and they are pushing quite hard. But obviously, when you push that aggressively in the best of strategy, there's a lot of reward. At the same point, there is a lot of risk. As you can see here, it's hard to control the car up front for the ABN car, and the temperatures skyrocket for the HTL car. And also, with no room to lift and reduced visibility, if a wreck happens in front, it can make a mistake. But it is the fastest way to get around here, and you'll see it especially in the late game when it plays out. Now, there is a way to rectify this issue at the very least, and you'll see here, you can switch spots. Where the ABN car switches out, the HTL car goes around, allows the HTL car to cool its engine, and the ABN car can take the role of pushing and try to push on. That's why when we talk in the broadcast, there's pushers and there's movers. Some are better at pushing, some are better at receiving. When crunch time happens, you want to be in a roll. Now let's talk about side draft here, and you can see as the ABN car pulls out, it puts draft on the side corner panel there, on the rear corner panel, and it side sucks the car backwards and slows the HTL car down, allowing the ABN car to move forward. That's why you see these cars get very close during a race broadcast here, especially in crunch time. But the same thing can happen in reverse, whether on the right corner panel or on the left corner panel. It can really drag the car back and forth. But as you can see here, though, as they go into this corner here, you can do it a little bit too much, and there's that risk. If you side draft very, very aggressively and do it for too long, you can hurt both of your performances at the very least, and in turn, it can drag both cars back further back. And as this profession lesson ends, you can see pit lane a bit crowded, and I think that 57 may have just spent pit lane here as they were all following Zier's pathway in. The 3 teammates all hit pit lane.
Lily Petelier Sharp comes down pit road. Bianca Constantinu comes down pit road. Lilac Zier. So all 3 of the stepping stone cars will all come down pit road this time by. And it looks like they will all get off with 4 tires and a full tank of fuel. Zier, the first one to come off pit road. Sharp being held, Constantino being held. They may have been caught speeding.
Looking at the clocks right now, well clear. That is not what you want to see, but I think pit lane's going to be a bit crowded. I'm hearing Seth Wanzing's chatter coming down, Gaiman and a few others coming as well, so you've got to be careful to make sure you don't speed. You can make up for a mistake if it happens this early, but look at Constantino and Sharp. It's a 45-second hold if you're caught by the red and blue lights coming down pit lane. So you got to be cautious. But looking at that pit road right now at the very least, Wanzing, Anderson, Peach, Meredith, Arnold, Wygent, Withers, all on, and Sharp and Constantinu still waiting for that clock to end. Constantinu just left, and Sharp leaving as well. But that's a long hold, and it's left Zier on an island that she's going to have to try to escape from. Now the question is, who else will blink next? And will any driver try to make it to 65?
Joshua Gaiman, the Valfreya Motorsports driver, continues to lead, getting the shot from his partner, his alliance mate, I should say, the 81 of Josh Susi, the Tombstone driver of 25, Blake Henderson, in position number 3, and the 94, Chris Pendel. Do not count him out yet, as so far they have not blinked. They have not decided to go down pit road. They have not decided to come down, but anything can happen.
I think we're going to have another lesson here from Professor Young. We're going to talk about pit lane entry and exit. So you can see here, pit lane can be very tricky to get down if you're not prepared. So there's a way to rectify this. You want to space out, give each other the room, and pull on in so you can get on the brakes together and make it work. But obviously, if you go too fast, get too greedy, you can speed. There's one other concern as well. If you're on the high side, let's say your pit box is ahead of the driver in question with the ABN car, you can see this effect right now. The HTL car is going to have to slow up and allow the ABN car to get to their box and then go in their box. But when you're linked up with teammates, there's always that risk that at the very least, if you don't get linked up at the very end, you could end up losing time and lose positions on track. And now pit lane very more crowded as the ABN cars and the Allegiance with ABN, or Arrowhead I should say, ABN is the network, they link on in and they make this happen. But right now, it's still at least over 20 cars at the very least in this lead pack. Right now, it's still led by Gaiman, so no blink yet from these top cars here at the very least. But looking at the manufacturers at the very least, it looks like it's about a lot of Fords and Chevys, all the Toyotas hit the pit lane at that time.
And now you're starting to see the importance of teamwork, the importance of alliances, and the importance of communicating with your partners out there. Now everyone's saying, if I go in now, will you go with me? And if we go out together, we have a better shot of getting in front of the lead. I also think because we know they can make it on a full run without having to make it through the stage, without having to go down pit road, you're starting to see some drivers play the reverse game. They're starting to run this game non-linearly and hoping that they have the strategy now to come in late. They're coming early now to prevent a late pit stop towards the end of this race in order to have the best odds of being up front when everyone else is forced to go in. So far, Gaiman has not indicated he's going to. Susie's not going and made an indication. Henderson, Pendel, Callie Height have not come down or have not made an indication. And Selena Thompson already on the high side, and now you've got, I believe, two of the 3 Ascent drivers working together.
Yeah, right now, obviously they have similar paint schemes, so they know where to find each other on the track. Makes it quite easy. There you see Richard Odie going a lap down as well. The car's going to try to swarm around him, and this is where it gets interesting. Obviously, right now, there's a bit of a race in this pack between Odie and Lilac here, both one down in this pack. Odie going to get boxed down almost below the yellow line there. Will get back up. Has to stay with this pack, though, if he wants to have a chance to stand in the lead lap. Now, obviously, when the stage ends, could take the wave round if necessary, but then again, that opens another can of worms with strategies and whatnot. So there's all important. You'd rather get back on the lead lap at the end of the stage by using the Lucky Dog now, rather than take the wave round and open that can of worms. But right now, it's a race between Zier and Odie, but I feel like right now you can see a few cars up the groove here, but looks like pit lane's going to be crowded here as Gaiman saying that he's coming in, along with almost the rest of the field. Hopefully no one runs into each other.
Gaiman comes in. Oh, the 94 had a big stop. Christopher Pendel unable to make it down pit road. He cuts to the grass, and that could end up being a penalty for him for missing pit road. Gaiman comes down. Susie, Selena Thompson, DeMonte Dodson, Alfred Denny all come down to the attention of their crews. Dean Clavette, Kate Sweat in place of Caitlin Height comes down pit road, and a lot of other drivers. The busiest pit road will be is right now.
Very least for Pendel there, I was keeping an eye on that point. He luckily did not go down the commitment line. He did not pass the commitment line, so he will not have a penalty. And maybe that was a good thing, because if he kind of went too aggressive there and sped, could have been more of a can of worms. Now, obviously, he's now kind of been alone here, so he's going to have to pit this time by alone, and that's not a good thing, but there's always a better chance of running into someone else right there. As you see right there, Henderson gets bumped by the 4, Zachary Apperson, and that could be a penalty for the 25 here, as he was in the commitment line, now going to have to merge back in. We'll see what the iRacing gods have to do about this, but again, these pit lane entries on green flag can be very, very tricky, and you're seeing the effects here, and they thought they had stretches. Henderson's just going to bail out, does not want to get an illegal service, so he'll have to come back around again, and he'll be on an island alone with no help And there you can see Apperson with a damaged front end. We'll see if they can get that fixed up. But back in the lead pack right here will be eventually the lead pack. It's Sharp, Constantinu, Braille, and Sienna, your top 4.
Zachary Apperson missed his box by like 3 different boxes. He had to back up all the way through the field and through the 3 boxes to get to his crew. That's going to be a major time suck on him as you see him getting down and away. The 25 now, the leader, the Tombstone driver, Blake Henderson, will lead this field in the Zaxby's entry, the Zaxby's Ford Mustang. So Henderson now credited as your leader. The next clearest car is Dustin Hall, a half second away.
Yeah, but at the very least, though, you can see the speed differential of Henderson running alone. You'll see he gets caught here and passed. Still on the lead lap, though, and obviously said Tommy Reynolds' next car up, but obviously Henderson's going to come in this time by. He has to pit, and actually, he's going to stay out, so it looks like he wants to stay with the pack here. Maybe not, he's actually coming in by mistake. But you can see in this lead pack, they'll eventually be the lead when everyone pits, as they are now in a pack of cars that are on the lead lap and cars that are a lap down, as we are riding on board here with Matthew Boone, currently in 16th. As cars begin to peel off, that number will slowly increase.
We've cycled through pit stops now, and currently being scored as the leader is the 7 of Tommy Reynolds after Blake Henderson went down pit road. So Tommy Reynolds, who was one of the first to pit, he will now be scored as your leader, and we've got an Arrowhead 1, 2, 3 right now. Reynolds leading the way, Chad Swatsworth in the 18 in second, and John Hagan, the pole sitter, is now running in third. So these 3 trying to make a run for it as everyone else way behind. These 2 drivers, you can throw a blanket over them. The next closest driver is Jeremy Braille over 2 seconds away from John Hagan and company.
One of these advantages, there's a lot of cars in that second pack. It's Braille all the way down to Sasek, and I think a few others. Obviously, Reynolds leading a lot here in that unsponsored black machine. But it's a 1, 2, 3 for Arrowhead. Carmen, Sienna, the team boss, is currently in 5th. See if she and Braille and the rest of that pack there, you can see right there in the 96, maybe trying to go around here and make something happen along with Gaiman. So they're going to ditch Braille at the altar here. Gaiman and the 96, obviously maybe a little bit of allegiance. They're going to go to the front here and try to catch back up to the car she owns. As actually, it looks like Gaiman not even going to try to do that. Thompson going to push Sienna, and you got to be careful with those bumps.
That was not a bump. That was a shove. That was a very specific message to Carmen Sienna. We're coming, and you better get out of our way. The 2 Brea Motorsports drivers are linked up, and they want Sienna to get out of the way. Now, Sienna's doing a great job blocking for her 3 teammates, trying to hold off that line so they don't overpass the 3 Arrowhead drivers that are currently running. But that's only going to get Thompson and Gaiman a lot more frustrated. Those 3 drivers, along with their alliance mate, the 81 of Josh Susi there, they're going to start getting frustrated sooner rather than later. And when that happens, as you see right now, they may not be so forgiving to Sienna, as she's going to get pushed back 3, 4, maybe even 5 spots.
Being a loyal team boss at the very least, now that inside line's linked up, they should be able to make inroads. With the stage ending at 65, time is ticking, laps are ticking down, and you got to get caught up quickly here. Obviously, Gaiman came so close to winning stage 1, would really like to win stage 2, with 3 cars up ahead here. But look at the times right now, they're making inroads. I've checked it last time, it was 3.3. Now it's down just under 3 seconds, so they are coming in that little pack of 5. And the question is, can Reynolds, Swatsworth, and Hagan maybe survive the charge if and when they get there?
So team dynamics now playing a big part of the racing. Your top 3, Arrowhead Motorsports. Your next 3, the Valfreya Motorsports drivers. Behind them, it's going to be the NFG drivers, Hunter Peach, Seth Wansing, and the 74, the only outlier in all of that. The 74 belonging to, I believe that is Real Motors. That's Real in the Real Motorsports thing. So, the 27 now has some problems. 27 blew up. The 27 blew up. She is out of the race.
Oh no, she was pushing hard there. I saw her pushing that 33 as hard as she can. She probably overheated the engine. And when we went over that lesson, that is a risk. If you push too hard, you can blow the engine. And it looks like the 27 did that. There is a risk though. She does have a fast spare. She can save that engine, but she's gonna crawl and crawl. At this point, it makes you wonder if it's better just to stop and tow. Look at those RPMs, only 300 mph, as she is just trying to go as quick as she can, as it is slowly dropping and dropping and dropping. Luckily, there'll be just enough power she should make it, but she's going to easily go 1 down here, maybe 2, and that's the risk-reward situation. Push it as hard as you can. Luckily, we'll see how it all plays out here, but the 27's still limping out, but that is a blown engine, and you hate to see that.
The 27 just running in traffic with her Valfreya Motorsports teammates, and as you said, that's the risk of pushing too hard. The engine blows on that one, unless she has a not user quick repair, which I don't believe she has. She can still get that car back running, but you're right. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get back to pit road, as you see the 1-2-3 of Arrowhead pushing past her. So now she's officially lapped down. Will probably be 2 unless she needs a tow. Then it could be even longer. Up front, no changes. Reynolds, Swatsworth, Hagen, your top 3. Now here comes Gaiman and company, who are only about 4 seconds behind your top 3 tandem.
She should make it. She's going about 30 mph right now. She'll make it to the commitment line. Now the question is, obviously this is the advantage of where you qualified. If she qualified a little bit further to the back, which I think she did, she's about mid-pack. Her box should be about midway down the pit lane here. So she'll make it in the pit lane. She's in pit lane. She's going to go 1 down. She'll definitely go 2 down 2. We'll see if she goes down a 3rd here. But to the front right now, we're still focusing on this right now. Reynolds, Swatsworth, and Hagen, they pulled 4 seconds on that second pack. Now we'll look at another pack here, even further back. It's led currently by the 8-inch train of Kevin Gibney Jr. This is about 18th place on track right now, and they are led by, actually, Callie Height in the 8. Sorry, my mistake. Gibney got a mismark on my number, but you can see right now Gibney's also in that pack as well, and they are making it happen here at the very least, trying to get up front, but obviously they're highly unlikely to get stage points here, so there's an aggression at the very least, or maybe they should be a little bit more passive to make sure they don't end up wrecking.
14 dynamics in play as Callie Haight, the Elite Liberty driver, and DeMonte Donson, the rookie, being part of Valfreya Motorsports. They're going to try to do what they can to keep going towards the front and at least try to salvage this run. The best they can do is salvage this run, get themselves in the best position to make the run at the end of the race. Stage points are great, but like we talked about at the beginning, you want to run. You want to win. You don't want to go crazy. We have problems now. The 3 goes around, 3 hits, and that's a caution flag come out.
I was saying that right there. That was that concern at the very least. They were running not even for stage points and 3 cars involved. The 8, the 3, the fill-in driver. It looks like the 91, a Mongol, in another caution here. And it looks like the 90, a Dean Clavitt, a previous race winner, all involved in this incident. And more importantly, that ends the stage. So Reynolds get the stage win with Swatsworth, Hagen, Gaiman, Sosi, Peach, Wanzen, Grayo, Sienna, Frazier, your top 10. Let's take a look at exactly what happened.
So let's take a look through at this replay, and it looks like it starts with the 1 car in front of them. That's Kevin Gibney Jr., forced to check up for the 29 of Alfred Denny, pushes the 3 back. 3 has nowhere to go, ends up on the front right bumper of that 15 car. That's Ryan Parnell. Parnell hits the 3 around, and the 3, like a torpedo, just takes out that other driver, and that's going to bring out the caution flag for the 2nd time tonight. An unplanned caution that will definitely have some impact. I believe the 3 of Kate Sweat is out of quack repairs, so her night may be done, Kevin.
We'll have to see, because I know she hit that wall earlier. I don't know if she burned it or not. Obviously, we'll get a check here as well. The update Celine Thompson did was fast repair, and she's still in the running now. We'll take another look here. Looks like we're going to ride on board here one of these cars. We'll see who gets the lucky eye, and it's going to be Ryan L, I believe. That's Dean Clavitt is going to be riding right now, currently in 36th position. And I heard on his radio call he wasn't too thrilled they were riding this aggressively here. And obviously it looks like his crystal ball proved it true. And a wreck happened. You can see on that low side just the checkup, and you can see right there Pernell tried to fill the hole that the 3 was trying to fill, and it's a big lick for the 3 and the 90. And you can see, even though it's virtual racing, you wonder how hard the hit these can truly be. But if you have a direct drive wheel, if you have something like that, it can really feel ill effects on you. So you got to be careful and make sure it doesn't snap back. So it looks like we'll take one more look here and crash again. This time from Sweat's perspective.
And you can see Sweat just forced to check up from the 1 and nowhere to go for her. The 15 collects her, and that's going to send him into Dean Clavitt. And those 2 drivers now heavy damage on their front end. Nowhere to go but down pit road. And we'll see who exactly has the quick repair to get back on track.
Yeah, we'll see. It's obviously a risk-reward situation. If you hadn't avoided, Reynolds missed their box. They're going to have to back up just a bit. That may hurt their chances of getting the pole back here. But he is the Stage 2 winner, so we can take solids in that. But on the race-off pit lane, it looks like John Hagen will win the race. And then we'll see here's other cars slot in. And you can see, though, that missed box just sent Reynolds a little bit further back than he'd probably like to be on this race-off pit lane. It also doesn't help. He also, I think, took 4 tires. Actually, he took fuel only, so that missed box was the main kryptonite of what cost him time. But his teammate, John Hagen, he will be the leader coming to the final stage.
And Kate Sweat did still have a quick repair available to her, so she will take the one quick repair down and away, and she will leave probably around position number 25 or so, as they had to do a full service on that 3 machine. So we'll have to go back here and see who exactly won the stage. I believe it was the 7 of Tommy Reynolds, who will be credited as a stage 2 leader, as he was leading when the caution came out on lap 60. Remember, if the caution comes out at lap number 60, whatever the order was in the last green flag lap, that's going to be the order of the winners there.
So we're going to see a quick check here. Actually, it looks like we're going to talk to Carmen. I was going to talk about the wave round procedure, but it looks like Carmen has a few thoughts about stage number 2. So Carmen, this is Kevin, the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
This is a weird secret to talk to you in this situation, because usually it's the other way around. But you can see right now you're currently 7th. So how is Arrowhead Racing doing out there in your perspective, as obviously your driver just won stage number 2?
Yeah, I'm still working on a couple things on the team strategy side of things, because we got split up there, and obviously not where we want it to be. All 5 of us scored stage points, which is cool. But yeah, just kind of cleaning stuff up before, stage 3. I think we got 2 more stops left to go, I think is what the data's showing us right now. But tires have looked really good, so these should be quicker stops to end the race.
Yeah, it looks like at the very least tires may not be on the ream here. But the next question I guess you have is, obviously we saw at the end of stage 2 in that second pack there, were you trying to slow up that other pack with Gaiman, maybe to allow your drivers to get a little bit ahead, or were you just shuffled out?
Yeah, the idea was to guarantee it for the top 3. We weren't going to be able to catch them with the 74 in front of us, and then it's us against Valfrey and Lady Liberty right now. And the objective was to make sure they didn't get to our drivers. That caution didn't really change anything because they couldn't catch up anyway. Definitely just trying to play the team game there, and it worked out.
All right, one more quick question. Obviously, we're getting the 1 to go here, so I'll let you go back quickly. But just one more quick thought. How do you think the final stage is going to go? Do you think you got a chance to win this thing?
I think so. We've got a strong car, but those pit stops are everything. If the last stop's a green stop, that's going to determine if we're first or 14th. I've nailed the stop. It's the exit that's killing us right now. So we just got to keep working together and chip away at it. But yeah, I think the 96 Arasaka Toyota is fantastic tonight. It's felt really good. We just need to make sure we got the right person in front of us to lead.
All right, well, Carmen, I'm going to let you go back to your team chat there. You have a good rest of your race. Maybe we'll be talking to you at the finish.
Absolutely. Thank you, and enjoy, everyone.
And as well, if you want to see her perspective, you can tune to ABN Esports 2. You can have it on a second monitor. You can see what she sees during this race. Maybe, just maybe, you'll see a winning car in that perspective. But obviously, we're coming back to the green flag here. It's going to be Hagen Peach front row with Swatsworth Ones in row 2. But there's a bit of a link up here. Some of these teams aren't linked up. So we're going to see how this plays out. Coming into the final stage with 2 possible green flag pit stops on the horizon. We'll have to see how this all plays out.
Real quick, Chad had a question. How often does a race leader at this stage, through the stage, go on to win the race in the HTL Daytona 500? Well, I'll tell you, not exactly quite that easy. There's been the last pass for the lead has been between laps 2 and laps 15. So it's not necessarily where you can go and how you can do it. It's a matter of where you are at when the last pass counts. They're going to take it off to Kevin Young, who's going to take us to the restart.
And we're going to be here right now. It's going to be Hagen's control in the restart zone. Green flag is out, and the final stage of the 5th HTL Daytona 500 is underway. Hagen with a great launch there, and Swatsworth as well. We'll see if they jump up on the high side here or stay linked up on the low side.
61 laps left to determine who's going to win this race here at Daytona, and Hagen now immediately under fire from Swatsworth. Hunter Peach in the mix as well. The 3 Arrowhead drivers mixed up, scattered about, as they can't necessarily quite line up. Now the 20 of Peach is going to run behind 2 of them. The 74 of Jeremy Braille is going to get a push from the 7. Braille will lead, but I guarantee you those 3 Arrowhead drivers, they want to get back together and go back to leading this race.
You're 100% correct here. So obviously you may see the 74 get ditched at the dance floor right there. You can also see Sosi trying to make a middle groove happen. Sienna, though, in that middle groove as well. We'll see if this happens. If anyone else jumps up right now, right on board with Carmen Sienna, but she's in a bit of a bad spot here. She's going to have to find a lane quickly or try to get that middle line moving.
Now you can run 3 lines here. You can easily run 3 lines at Daytona. The problem is you have to have enough cars to do so. Otherwise, you're going to get side draft all the way down the line, and with nobody helping you, you're going to get stuck in a hurry. Now the 81 and 96 are hooked up. The 20 is going to jump in the middle with them. Nope. He's going to go back outside, and it's back to a 2-line, almost a 3-line tandem as Sienna thinks about making it 3 wide again. Will back off And now the 81 of Josh Susi will go ahead and get back in line as well.
Yeah, we'll see here again. Braille leads the way, and I said in the pre-race, you can't count Braille out. He has a track record of showing up when this happens, and this is the last crown jewel of the series he runs to win the opening race. And right now he's looking poised to do it, but a driver that was a rival of him in another series in A squared, right there, Tommy Reynolds behind him. We're former teammates as well. Right now, 1-2 at the very least. They had the rivals at these high banks as well, and they're leading the way. But obviously, you know for a fact, Hagen is in third. And actually, a little fun fact on the side, they're all teammates in a former series as well, all drove for the Beatron Allegiance. So they know they have the work chemistry together, but obviously, different situations call for different things, but they all have pedigree in these high banks and tracks.
New leader up front, it's the privateer, Jeremy Brialt of Beatron Racing. No friends out there, so I guess he's going to make some along the way. He will be credited as your leader, getting the shove from the Arrowhead boys, Tommy Reynolds, John Hagen, and the 18 of Swatsworth. They're going to keep shoving him up front. Down below, it's the 20 machine leading the low line. So the 20 of Hunter Peach will get the shove from the 88 of Seth Wansing, and NFG Motorsports going to take a run for the lead.
Yeah, they're teammates right now, NFG, so they know how to work together. They have their allegiances. They know what to do here, and they're clear here. The question is, do they come up front of Braille? Looks like they may do it. Well, Peach is going to do it. Wands is going to stay with Sienna, and they'll stay on the low side here. The question is, can Peach get back here and make a charge happen here? But right now, Wansing going to stay, and looks like his hand was the correct one. Car in the brown in the back. That's the 19 around in the Selena Thompson, and that's not what the 27 wanted to see.
Not with the 27, not with the 19 wanted to see as well. This could be the end of 27's night as the caution comes out for the third time tonight. DJ Anderson now getting back on track, but you got to wonder how much damage the 19 has, and more importantly, after the 27 used for quick repair, how much does she have left in the tank?
Guess we'll check on this replay here to see exactly what happened. You can see, a shack up right there with the 31, the 23 of Withers, and Austin Mongold, third incident of the night. This one a lot less painful for him, but you can see that front clip rip off the 27. 19, though, relatively very uncalm there. It was very clean at the very least for a wreck can be. Looks like we're right on board with the car in question.
Let's ride on board now with the 27 of Selena Thompson to see what exactly caused the front end to go away. You see her running in traffic, trying to mind her own business, and it may have been a checkup. Let's take a look here as we continue to ride on board. It's going to be another car getting shoved out of the way, and that's going to take her front end off, and that could be the night for the 27. Hard way to go out.
Yeah, we'll see here. Obviously, it's not the way the 27 wanted to be, being in an uncharted car, but at the very least, it's going to be a play here. But back up front, Seth Wansing leads the way. And again, we talked about fuel strategies. We talked about cautions could maybe change fuel strategies here. Here on lap 69 to 70, we're still a little bit of ways away. Probably still a two-stop race at the very least. But we'll see if any drivers maybe come down here and take a chance here. Wansing tried to double bluff the field, but it looks like one car is going to elect to take that choice here. It's Zachary Meredith, and it looks like Bobby Blowers is following Win, and a few other drivers back there blinking, as basically if you're that far back, you may be like, oh, whatever, I'm already back here anyway. Not really anything to lose to try a different strategy.
Nothing to lose, everything to gain, especially if you think more caution flags are coming out. Bobby Bowers are coming in. Zachary Meredith now coming out. Selena Thompson going to need as much help as she can get out there on the field. Austin Mongold, Dean Clavette, all down on pit road. Lily Sharp now all coming off pit road. Richard Odie off pit road. Zachary Apperson as well. So a lot of drivers, Justin Hall, DJ Anderson, who was involved in that incident, Tommy Withers coming down, Gary Donaldson, the Under Armour entry, all coming down to the attention of their crews. And at this point, you've got nothing to lose. If you can get on a different pit stop strategy as everybody else, if you can get on a different setup than everybody else, it may play out to your favor, especially if more caution flags do come out.
Yeah, we got 55 laps left at this thing, and it looks like it is the end of the day for Selena Thompson. Well, maybe not yet. She's out of fast repairs, but it looks like she put tires on it, but it's going to be a long clock here to see what exactly happens. One other thing to report as well, Bianca Constantinu is back on the lead lap. She got the lucky dog. She will join the others on the lead lap, putting us with 36 cars on the lead lap, with only Dean Clavitt and Selena Thompson and Marcus Chapin the only ones, obviously one down. Clavitt is 2 down. Selena Thompson right now at the moment is in a bit of a pickle situation. She went a couple down because of the engine blowing, and Marcus Chafin, after that stage 2 mistake, is looking just to try to get back. And this is where it gets risky, because if you're in a bad spot, if you're multiple down and there's a car ahead of you, 1 down, so let's say Clavitt's 2 down, Chafin's currently 4 down, Chafin has to wait for Clavitt to get both their laps back, and Selena Thompson's also currently ahead of her to also get their laps back before the 21 to Chafin can get theirs back. So a lot of cautions have to come out to make that happen, and we'll have to see how that all plays.
We talked about teams being the key strategies. We talked about teamwork being the big part of the start of the third stage. That can be kind of thrown out the window tonight, or now anyways, as they line up for one more to go. Drivers from all kinds of different teams now in that front group. Seth Wansing representing NFG Motorsports, Carmen Sienna, the team boss at Arrowhead, Alfred Denny, the 29 machine, part of Alfrea Motorsports, and Matthew Boone, the 28 of Tombstone Motorsports, all separated from their drivers, all without a friend up front. Well, now they've got to start doing some house trading amongst themselves. What are you going to do? What am I going to do? And where are we going to go in this next restart? Should be interesting to see if he will going to hang back to their teammates, or if they're just going to go for it and try to shoot the moon with whoever's up front with them.
I want to say one more thing. A few more cars coming down again. Pacey Wygant joining the crew along with Arnold, Hall, Trout, Withers here. There's something worth noting. Look at the remaining laps right now. We're about 27-ish laps. You can split this in half. 71 to 125 is about 54 laps. Divide that by 2. You're looking at about 27 laps, give or take. And we know a fuel tank is about 22 to 27 laps. So there is a chance here. These drivers coming in, topping off a second time. If they can maybe hit that magical number, they could make it on one more stop. Now, that's a tall ask. That is not easy. But if another caution plays out here, it could play in factor. So we'll have to see how this all plays.
So when we go back to green flag racing in just half a lap plus or minus, Seth Wansing will be your leader. Carmen Sienna on the outside. Alfred Denny, Matthew Boone, Hunter Peach, Jeremy Brault. Their top 6. And before we see some other teammates for Arrowhead, we're going to have to go back all the way to position number 8. It'll be a very entertaining restart, to say the least, all in the control of the 88 of Seth Wansing. Pace car will make the hard left turn down pit road next time by when they cross, and the field will be in control of the 88. He can start anywhere once they hit the Geico restart zone. And now you see him trying to warm up the tires, get a little more heat in them as the track cools down. Seth Wansing in the lead. Carmen Sienna maybe trying to jump the lead. Green flag flies. Wansing gets ahead. And we are back to green flag racing. Carmen Sienna drops back, and she will continue to restart position number 2, drops behind the 88, and the racing begins one more time.
That's the risk you got to take here at the very least, where you want to time it just correct. Obviously, the lead car gets a little bit of an extra jump because obviously they know when they're going to go. And if you're in a chat with the driver, you can kind of time it up, so that's why teammates can make it work. But Sienna tried to go quick there, tried to make something happen to make sure she got it. She got a little bit napping and didn't want to risk the steward's wrath if she went ahead. So luckily, though, she'll slot in the P2 at the moment with Wansing on the low side. But that high line of Matthew Boone and Jeremy Brault pushing towards the front. One more thing to note as well, Selena Thompson, her day is done. She's taken it behind the wall, so she will join the DNF list along with Ruby Estes.
Matthew Boone, the Tombstone Motorsports driver, trying to lead the high side, trying to get some help from the 74 machine. So far, no big help as the 74 is trying to give them push. No dice yet. Jeremy Brault, the privateer out there as well, trying to help, but no dice so far. The low line, in a swap of things, is now being the preferred line.
Yeah, that's, again, it's changing drives as the track goes on here. It makes condition happen. If we ride on here with Jeremy Brault as he's trying to push that Henry Graphics machine up towards the front here of the 28 of Matthew Boone. Obviously nowhere you can really go here at the very least. As we can see, again, you can see that low line, a little bit of separation here. And you can see maybe that car just had there peeking, prodding, maybe trying to make something happen, but the hole will close where we can make something happen here. One more thing I want to know is look how big that pack is right there between the first pack and the second pack there. That's about a 2-second gap. And that we saw at the end of stage 2 when Sienna was in that second train along with Reynolds and the others of Arrowhead Motorsports in the first lane. There was that enough distance that they could not get caught up, and they're doing this side by side. I don't like the odds Blake Henderson and co can lead this train to that first pack at the very least. They're losing time hand over fist. I think this could be a bit of a situation if another caution doesn't fly.
If another caution doesn't fly, it's going to come down to pit stops, and the question will be who are the haves versus the have-nots. So high line getting the run one more time, and now it's the 29 of Alfred Denny. Caution out for the fifth time.
Car smoke there. That's always a sketchy spot when you're riding on board. Good shot to show Blake Henderson, and it's the 99 of Elias Flores. So bad situation for two A-cent cars. It's also 9 of Eli Sask. He's got a damaged front end here. So I'm going to take a guess here that it may have been a bad bump or a bad push. But obviously, we'll take a look at the replay when we get it here to see exactly what happened. And actually, replay on cue. So we'll take a look here exactly what happened. Obviously, this is in the first pack here, and a little bit of a checkup effect. And I think it's similar to what happened to bring out the previous caution with Selena Thompson. Little different. Bad bump, gets 99 loose, try to push again, and that's why you don't bump in the corners, kids, as it sets 99 down, and at that point you can see the 8 of Callie Height nowhere to go along with Christopher Pendell, but Pendell looks like he gets on the brakes just in time and doesn't hit anything.
I would really love to be a fly on the wall right now in the Ascent war room, as they now get involved in their second team incident. This is the second time that the 9 and 99 have hooked up and caused a little bit of an incident between themselves. So I'm a little concerned as we go out there. Let's take a look now from the onboard of Callie Height.
Yeah, you see right now, A-Set Racing is probably right now literally a war room with how it's been a bad day from all the speed leagues. We're riding out here with Callie Height. She'll have a good perspective. You can see bumps the 9, bumps the 9 again. Ugly again, really got blessed by the iRacing gods. Avoided most of it. Didn't get much damage there as a little bit of net code saved her day along with Pendell behind. So she's thanking her lucky stars that did not end up tearing up her car here. And she's looking relatively okay moving forward. More important, that allows the second pack to get caught up. A pit load of very, very crowded places. I calculated earlier, we were in the range here, and we're now going to have one more stop to do it, as these drivers can check off one more pit stop on their to-do list.
Alfred Denny will lead them down to pit road, and I've got a feeling we'll see some two-tire stops here as well. Remember, 7 sets of tires, but tires with a track this cold are not as big of an issue. Currently, the track, the temperature 71 degrees and cooling down as the air temperature gets lower. Dean Clavette comes around to get his lead, to get back on the lead lap. A couple drivers electing to stay out. The 15 of Ryan Pinnell will stay out, so he will inherit the lead. Austin Mongol, the other Ascent driver, will stay out as well. So he will go to position number 2. 21 of Marcus Chafin will get position number 3.
It's interesting because Ryan Pinnell last came out on 62. Obviously, when he was involved in that wreck to end the stage. The rest of the field here came, Austin Mongold came in at 69, and obviously the rest of them just came in now. So I see the strategy working for Austin Mongold here, but Ryan Pinnell, it's a bit of a head scratcher here. Maybe he wants to get the sponsorships happy on screen here, but it doesn't seem counterintuitive here to kind of stay out here, as he is way off sequence here, and he's still got to make probably another 2 pit stops. So again, assuming we go green all the way, it's not going to be good, but obviously the odds of it going green aren't the strongest here at the very least for this to happen. So we'll have to see how it all plays out in this regard. But at the very least, looking at the over-unders of the cautions tonight was 9.5, and we're under that right now at 5. But considering that the odds said 9.5, maybe Ryan Pinnell is thinking that we're going to have a chance to get closer to a push or maybe even an over.
I think we're getting closer to a push than we are an over. We've seen a lot of clean racing through the first 2 stages. Now in the third stage, yes, everyone's getting racy, but they're not egregious mistakes. They are not mistakes you would see from super aggressive driving. They are little communication errors. There are checkups. There are minor things that are normal racing deals. So I don't know that we're going to get close. Push maybe. But right now, if you're asking me to get on my sports betting app, of which there are many, I would probably take the live odds on the under.
It's the day we have a live service for betting on iRacing is the day. It's going to be quite an interesting world when that happens. Oh, I got a cough there for a second there, but it's going to be quite an interesting situation.
I think you were choking on the idea that someone's going to bet on iRacing.
It's a scary thought.
It's a very scary thought, but they do bet on esports now.
Sorry, it was still clearing my throat there. Just the thought was catching me off guard. But anyway, we got the 1 to go here. And you can see right now, at the very least, it's Ryan Pinnell and Austin Mongold 1-2, and Boone Denny, the next 2 in the line there. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays, as Pinnell and Mongold playing out here.
So one more time here around Daytona International Speedway on the backstretch. It'll be the 15 and 91 in rows number 1, 29, 28, row number 2. And look who's back hooked up together. Carmen Sienna and the 7 of Tommy Reynolds. They will hook up one more time. Although teammates up front are a little bit spread out. The 15 belongs to, of course, let me get my notes out here real quick. The 15 belongs to Ryan Pinnell, the Unforgiven Motorsports entry. The 51 on the outside, 91 belongs to Ascent Racing. So again, teamwork is a little bit a shot here because you don't have a whole lot of teammates working with you if you're up front, if you're on the front row right now.
Yeah, and that could play a factor where you don't know how to work out. And again, allegiances could play a fault here. And it looks like one car may have blinked out here. Not seeing who exactly it was. I'm hearing some radio chatter that's may have blinked out. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Obviously, I'll keep an eye if anyone has a disconnect here. But it looks like we're going to take the green flag here on lap 77 coming to 78, and it's going to be on Pinnell's control.
Ryan Pinnell will be the man in charge when we go back to green flag racing. First racing Ford Mustang pace car gets out of the way, and we are back to green flag racing through the Geico restart zone. Ryan Pinnell waits for the flag to come out, forces everybody to slow up, and he will get a great jump as a result. The 28 of Matthew Boone, the Tombstone Motorsports driver, in second. The Ascent Racing driver not ascending as he missed the restart.
Yeah, that could be a factor there if you don't time the restarts right. Also, maybe a bit of old tires at the very least could play that factor. Can confirm the driver that had a disconnect there was Marcus Chafin, who looks like his internet went out there, so that's the situation on him. He was a couple down here, and that's going to take him out of contention of winning this race. So the driver that started on row number 2 is going to hit the garage as well. We'll see if he comes back, though, maybe get a few extra points. You can see one car pulling way down. That's Dean Clavitt, I believe that is, who's just going to check out here. Obviously, he's one lap away from getting back on the lead lap, so there is that situation where you don't want to be involved in an incident right now when you're so close to getting back on the lead lap and contending for a win.
We keep talking about Arrowhead Motorsports, and there's a reason for that. They are now the next three cars on the low line. Besides Parnell and Boone, who I believe are in they are in alliance together between Tombstone and Unforgiven Motorsports. Now you have 3 Arrowhead drivers right behind them, a 4th one coming on the high side. So now team dynamics are back in play, and everybody doing what they can to work with their partners to try to get ahead.
And we'll see allegiances play out here. Obviously, technical alliances may not be as strong as teammates, but we'll have to see that plays. Right now, Pinnell leading the way. Braille, though, and the Ascent of Austin Mongold, they have experience running on the Sunday nights in the Cup Series, but Mongold looks like he wants to maybe take that high line to work, but they'll stay back in line. And right now, it's an A-squared 1-2 with Pinnell and Braille leading the front charge here. But now the question is he Braille trying to charge those lines down? Can that high line stay momentum? And do they have the right car leading the train? Or maybe do they have the right pusher to try to get that line moving?
Interesting how you see the 74 and 91 working together. Right now, they're both effectively privateers. Brialt in his one-car Beatron Racing, and the 91 of Austin Mongold, the only Ascent driver, I believe, who is not involved in an incident, is going to push along with them. They both know that the odds are against them. They don't have any teammates up front, so they've got to work with whoever is willing to give them a hand. So 74 and 91 working as hard as they can, but it may not be enough as a low line, getting a big run down low among them.
Yeah, you can see that low line right there, big space though, where you're going to have to try to fill it. Sasek will do so and try to keep that low line dominance happening. But when you get those spaces out in those long bubbles, it can allow the cars on that high side to kind of get geared back up again. So right now, again, it's about knowing who's behind you and knowing who you can link up. Now, obviously, the privateer, the 74, is just looking for whoever he can find. 25 of Henderson blinking a bit there. Again, a bit of a sketchy on that low line when that happens. But to finish my point, on that high line, you want to work together and you want to know who you can work. And again, with the 74 of Braille and 91 of Mongold being teammates in another series, they know how to work each other out. But again, sometimes you may not be the best pusher and you may see that effect happen. So if the line isn't going, you may say, all right, next driver up is Apperson looking to maybe do that. And you say, all right, we got to switch it up here or we're going to be left in the dust.
They are being left in the dust as everyone now settling in for what's hoping to be a long run. The 15 of Parnell continues to lead with the help of his alliance mate, Matthew Boone. Then you've got 3 Arrowhead drivers. The next driver is the 81 of Josh Susi, the Lady Liberty driver. Behind him, the 25 of Blake Henderson, the Tombstone driver, way behind from his 2 alliance partners out there. He's going to start thinking about when do I want to try to get up and try to help them out in this race as the 74, 91, and 29 continue to try to work together, get that high line going. But right now, everybody is getting a little more relaxed, a little more settled in for what they're hoping to be maybe the final run of the race.
someone that personally looks at this track, has been to this track, I love it when it comes to the sunset. You can see the sun just peeking out over the corners here. It's such a beautiful sight there. You can almost see that 80 car almost plow into the back of the 71 Lily Frazier there. But you can see we're riding the board here with Eli Sassa, currently in 15th position. Not much where to go, but I've always said this when we go plate racing. I'll probably say it again. You have to have in the back of your mind a situation where if you're, let's say, 25th, 30th, you have to in the back of your mind, all right, by lap 90, I need to be here. By lap 95, I need to be here. So on and so on and so on. And especially with green flag pit stops, it can be the ultimate dice roll where it gets shaken up. If you're further back, there's a good chance that if a green flag pit stop happens and it's green to the finish, you got to be in a situation where you may be out of luck when that happens. Speaking of, we see the graphic on the screen. Lily Peltier-Sharp won the poll, the vote poll, so she is the chat's favorite to win this race. I think she was well over 12K in Arrowhead bits. We'll see if she can deliver on the chat's cheer.
Eurodollars. You're thinking of Eurodollars, not ABN Arrowhead bits.
Some currency. It's probably legal in some country by the end of this year.
And by the end of this year, we'll probably be gambling with it. The way things are going, Carnell continues to lead Boone, Carmen, Sienna, Jeremy Brault now on the high side. Brault still having a hard time leading that top line. I don't think he's got the support he needs to make the push up front. Plenty of grip up there, but just not enough engines, not enough horses running up there to get it going. So Brault still about 4 car lengths back to your leader. The 91 of Austin Mongo all over his back bumper, and the 29 of Alfred Denny just watching those drivers get at it, trying to make the decision when he wants to push and when he wants to really turn it up. I don't think he's in a hurry right now. I think he's waiting to see if we have more calamity.
This is where experience matters. Let's take a look at this top 5, as you see right there, Mongol pushing. But we'll take a look at this top 5. Ryan Pinnell, tons of experience. He's been around the block multiple times in multiple series. He knows what he's doing. 28, Matthew Boone, you could say the same thing. Carmen Sienna, maybe new to the HTL, but has raced tons of times and hosted, and obviously she's watched a ton of it. She's seen it from the high sky. Lily Frazier, maybe a bit of inexperience here. And if we look at Tommy Reynolds, a driver that's been a champion and has been strong in the plate races as well. Well, champions in other series, I should say, not in HTL. And you can see right there, this top 5, a lot of experience, and sometimes experience is key when the push comes to shove.
Speaking of experience, look at that driver in position number 6. That's the 81 of Josh Susi. Last year, he passed Josh Gaiman out of turn 4 with 2 to go to win this race. And entertainingly enough, there has never been a repeat winner at a super speedway during the HTL regular season. So the 81 might be trying to break that streak. But as we talked about well before on this channel, in order to finish first you must finish. I think the 81 is doing just that. He is biding his time, waiting for them to make the move, waiting to get to start springing up forward, and he wants to break the curse. He wants to be the first driver in order to win back-to-back at a super speedway. As we're seeing in chat, if anyone can deliver, it's the mailman. We will see if the post office delivers for you.
Obviously, interesting to note as well, he broke a lot of trends last season. Only driver to win the main race and win the championship. Only driver to finish the season after winning the main race. So he's got a trend breaker. He's a record setter, and he can easily do that here again. Right now, he's a bit of a catbird seat. But that outside line really not having any horses in it. You can see as they slowly fall back and back and back. And the question is, some of that low line is eventually going to blink. The question is, I got a hunch, maybe those Arrowhead cars, if that outside line can get a little bit momentum here, they may say, all right, we're going to jump to the high side here. We're going to clear the front 2 of Tombstone and Unforgiven in their technical alliance.
The technical alliance, though, still being proving to be a very dominant one as they run 1-2 and a little bit of hairy moments there up on the top side as I believe the 74 and 91 almost got connected and almost ended up spinning around, which would have been catastrophic for the rest of the field. They both back off, and I think they're going to be content just to run by themselves on the high side. Only 7 cars on the high side, a whole train on the low side. So they're just going to have to be content until someone decides they want to help them up front and try to get to the lead.
And again, remember, Ryan Pinnell, obviously we're still a little bit away from pit stops, but Ryan Pinnell is off sequence from everyone else. So there is that concern. If we stay green, he's going to pit, maybe alone, maybe pull someone else down. But the problem is that if he does pull alone with someone alone, it's still too early for these cars to come in. So we're coming close to the final pit stop. That's going to be just a little bit more north, a little bit south of 100. And that's when pit stops will occur. But right now, Ryan Pinnell will have to blink first, similar to Lilacs here in stage number 2, where she had to come in with her 2 teammates. And the problem is her 2 teammates both got busted for speeding, so it was basically a lone pit stop regardless. So the question is, when will Ryan Pinnell blink? Because he's going to have to blink a little earlier than the rest of this pack here.
And the nice thing for Bennell is he does have some teammates near him. He's got the 28 behind him. They're in between Tombstone and Unforgiven. They're in a technical alliance. 5 cars back, he's got Blake Henderson, who's in that alliance as well. So he won't be going alone. But the question is, he's got to communicate with his other teammates and be able to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. You know what I'm talking about. Get those speakers, get the headsets off, turn the speakers up. We're about to crank it up here at Daytona International Speedway.
Back from the crank it up there. It was great to hear the sights and sounds of Daytona as we're getting into crunch time here. As you saw during the crank it up, Ryan Pinnell had to come in for service. It was a long time and he was leading, but the caution did not come. The strategy did not work. And he has come in and I think he's got one more pit stop on the horizon and make it a double whammy. He's about to get caught by the field here. So Ryan Pinnell tried a strategy call. It didn't work. Obviously could still bail out here. He's only going to be one down here. If he can get launched up to the back of the pack, another caution comes out. As cautions do precautions, he could be back in this. But right now, it's Boone and Sienna 1-2 with Frazier third. Outside now with Henderson leading the way. Could get a charge here to make something happen.
Boone is a lone soldier out there for Tombstone Motorsports, but don't look now. Here comes the 25 of Henderson. Henderson's jumping on the high line, and he says, I want to go out there and help my buddy try to fight off two of the Arrowhead drivers and see if I can't make something happen for Tombstone Motorsports out there. The 25, of course, getting the shove from the 74 of Jeremy Briault. The four machine also now in the mix as well. That belongs to Zach Apperson, another Tombstone driver. So now it's a race between Tombstone and Arrowhead. Who's got the more horses and who can work better together to get to control of this race?
Just saw Ryan Pinnell clip the apron there, trying to get a merge back up to get in the pack. He's not going to do it. He's going to lose touch again. So it's just gone from bad to worse for the driver of the 15. But back towards the front, well, we never technically left. The 28 leading the way, now the 25, Henderson. Remember, a driver with a 5.5 average finish in these 4 races. One of only 2 drivers to attempt all 4 HTL races, now the 5th as well. And he is going to lead this lap at 96, matching the number of Carmen Sienna. Question is, can he take it home in these next 30-ish laps?
30 laps to go as now the 74 goes out of line. The Beatron Racing driver, Briant, gets away, and he's going to try to lead some run this run. But the Tombstone Unforgiven Alliance, I think they're going to have something to say about it as they continue to run nose to tail. The train continues side by side, 3 by 3. The drafting goes. The 25 has the advantage, but can he keep it through turns 3 and 4?
See here, Apperson pushing the ever-knowing you-know-what out of that 25. It's almost squirrely, but that's when you know you can trust the driver behind you. They've had experience. They've worked together in the past. Henderson and Apperson go low. It's going to open the door on the high side for Sharp to try to charge out here, but she's going to get a good run, but not good enough, so it sharpens here. So teammates on the high side, teammates on the low side. And the question is, what team alliance or team viewership is going to work out here? And right now it's Henderson, but Sharp started on row number 1, trying to get back towards the front.
Now it's a Tombstone Unforgiven tandem with Stepping Stone Motorsports as Lily Petelier Sharp tries to make a move with Lilac Zier on her bumper. It's ladies' night out here, and the time is right. The time is right. That being said, for pit stops. We're about in the window right now. With less than 30 to go, we're about in the window, and the question is, who wants to roll the dice first? Who wants to come in and see if they can time the pit stop perfectly in order to get the fuel they need to win this race?
There's a risk-reward situation. Obviously, pit early, the likelihood of going a lap down isn't high. But if a caution were to come out with drivers spinning around here, and you time it right, you could take the lead and make something happen. Right now, I'm not hearing any radio chatter or blinking, and personally, at the same point, I don't know if I'd want to come in this early. Obviously, Joe, you may have an opinion on this, but I see no difference coming in earlier or later as long as you come in with a lot of cars around you.
And this is where we start seeing team dynamics come into play. The teams are going to start talking amongst themselves of when do I come in, when do I want to come in, and who am I coming in with? Now that you have some of the teammates together, again, we've talked about Stepping Stone, the Tombstone Unforgiven Alliance, Arrowhead. They're all trying to work together and try to figure out amongst themselves who comes in first, who are we going to come in with, and how are we going to get out. And this also plays into manufacturer strategy as well. If you're a Camaro, if you're one of the few Camaros in Valfrey and Lady Liberty, you want to see a Camaro win, and you want to push your teammate up front. If you're in a Ford Mustang, with Ascent, B-Tron, Stepping Stone, Tombstone Unforgiven, you want to be able to try to get another Ford Mustang to the win. Obviously, you want yours to get to the win, but you've got a lot of help in the manufacturer categories.
There's a risk there and a reward. I just don't know how much the brand allegiance goes when it comes to manufacturer as much with team and allegiance. Obviously, it feels sweet when your own car makes it through, or at the very least your own manufacturer can make it through. But look at this right now. I've been watching this. Austin Mongold, he's going a lap down here because we're riding on board with him. He told everyone, I'm going high, avoid it, and they all did. But look how many cars have conga lines on the low side here. As the window is officially opened up, no one is really staying on that high side. They're all getting low. They all have their hands out the window saying, I'm going low. And this is going to be probably the calmest point of the next 26 laps here as we see this happen, as right now it's calm before the storm.
It is very much the calm before the storm, as the low line is where everybody wants to be. You don't want to be caught out high because it will block your chances of getting down pit road. It could end in a penalty or even worse, a car accident. A lot of people scared right now to see what happens. Lily Sharp continues to lead the group. Lilac Zier behind in the 57 of Bianca Constantino. It's now Stepping Stone 1, 2, 3 as the first car breaks off to go down pit road. That's going to be, I believe, Rialt.
That is no bueno. No one else went down with him. One other car did, Odie. I don't know if he didn't have enough fuel, or maybe someone sold him a bag of goods, or sold him a river in the desert. But he's all alone right now on the pit lane, and that is not good, as he's going to have to try to get back out and hope someone is with him. Odie is, but they're going to be so out of sync that this may have been a death note for him. But still up front, it's Sharp, and I see Zier coming in. I think it's Stepping Stone and Tombstone. This is going to be a crowded pit lane coming out of 3 and 4.
Let's ride on board with Lilac Zier to pit. You see her behind her teammate, Batelier Sharp. Let's see if Sharp's going to come down as well. We should see Stepping Stone, Tombstone, Unforgiven. Yes, we will. This time buys a 9, tries to make a dastic move to get there. Gets in front of the 77, and that is not going to be happy. The 71, I should say, of Sharp, not going to be happy. It's Stepping Stone, Tombstone, and I believe a couple of Alfreya cars coming in as well.
Commentator was talking about how she made good pit stops. New car missed their box. The 8 of Cali Height did, but Sienna hit the inside pit wall there. She was coming in, I was watching her, and she lost it. It kicked out. So she's got a big old shiner on the right front. She's not going to fix it. She'll be away. So it could be very sketchy, but I'm greatly shocked, not even shocked, proud that everyone made it down pit lane there safely with no one getting busted for speeding, and no one ended up taking each other out. Well, I may have spoken a bit too soon. I think someone got busted for speeding.
Sharp will win the race off pit road. Blake Henderson immediately behind him. Eli Sasak, who made the aggressive move to get on pit road first, comes out third. Lilac Zier, Joshua Gaiman come out your top 5. So once again, the team dynamics are switched around. Everybody at the attention of their crews, and a whole now contingent going off pit road. Josh Susie comes off, Dean Clavette, DJ Trout, Carmen Sienna, Kate Sweat, and Jeremy Brialt, who was the first one to come down pit road, now starting to catch up with the rest of those cars who came down.
2 cars got busted for speeding there on that first round of services there. Demont Dotson, haven't said much about him, the 31. He got busted along with Alfred Denny. So the cops got both of them, and now they'll have to make the time back up somewhere else here. But we're focusing on Lily Fraser. We saw her in the community race. She was quite strong. She was very strong, got good experience here. She was quiet in the duels, but now they're coming in along with John Hagan, Tommy Reynolds, and some of the Arrowhead contingency, along with a few others. And Schwarzer's going to have to get on the brakes. He will. No busted for speeding there. It looks like Wygen also successfully in. And now the question is, can they get this lined up in time and maybe beat the train coming out of Josh Gaiman?
4 Arrowhead drivers will come down. Pacey Wygen also on pit road. Kevin Givney, the number 1 machine for Valfreya, comes off pit road. It looks like fuel, no tires for him, as now we got more drivers come off. Seth Wansing, the 88 machine, also getting service as well. In front of him, the 17th of Zachary Meredith, and here we go again.
Indeed, a few cars going to blink, but not a lot here. Keep an eye on the pit lane here. You're going to see a bunch of slow cars on the low side here. They have left the pit lane. They are going to get passed here by this train of Stepping Stone. They're the 11 of Fraser. She's going to have to blend up quick here outside of 2. There you can see Gibney going by. That is not for position. That is a car not challenging the lead. Fraser going to come on up here successfully. They'll get linked up, but there's the Stepping Stone train on the high side. Question is, can Fraser get back to the cars in question, or are they going to get past? They are. Fraser going to retake the lead.
So the 11 of Fraser currently scored as your leader. John Hagan, Tommy Reynolds, your top 3. But I've got a feeling that's going to shift around a little bit as these pit stops continue to cycle through. Let's follow along right now with the 11 who's being scored as a leader. Quagmire in traffic. No, check that. It'll be the 71 now credited as your leader. So Lily Sharp back up front. Blake Henderson all over her back bumper.
And this is where it's crucial to make stops happen here. They all got in successfully at the top 20. This is usually in late endgame. You don't see it get this condensed up. Usually you see grooves of 9, grooves of 10 making it work. But this is well over a pack of 15, 17 cars here. And you can see the unlucky souls a little bit back in the second groove there. One of those drivers is Carmen Sienna, along with Ghosty and everyone else. And more importantly, no one is saving. You are foot to the ground from here on out. You are running until the tank runs out.
Till the tank runs out. Oh, we got trouble. We got trouble back
Reynolds flips. Tommy Reynolds flipped there. That was so shocking. It caught me to jump in there. And he's still going, which is more shocking. After a split like that, you would think that was Care Center, but he is still going. And we're going to take a split screen here, possibly to see what happened here. So we'll take a replay here at the very least, see what happened. As you just saw what happened between Fraser and, Sharp and Reynolds.
So Tommy Reynolds getting the worst of it right there. Caution out, though. We'll have to come back to it.
See what it was for. It looks like it was Cali Height in the 8 was the cause of this one. Tommy Reynolds obviously jumped the pits, but that was unrelated. Yeah, Cali Height had to jump the pits. So whatever the cause was happened. So we'll take a look what happened to Cali Height first, as this was the point of caution. And, ooh, that doesn't tell us much. We'll rewind here a bit. And she's with the 3 teammates in tow. Oh, bad bump by Breo there, and it sent her around. And you know she's probably not too thrilled about that, as that could be race done for the 8.
Let's go get on board for the 8 with the 8 there, and let's see what exactly happened from her perspective. The driver just running along, hoping everything's going her way. Now gets that bad bump, nowhere to go, nowhere to run, and that's going to send her straight into the wall. And that I believe she's already used her quick repair, so that could be the end of the run for her.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I can't remember. She was in that incident earlier, but I don't remember if she had to burn a fast repair or not. So we'll have to see how it works here. Obviously, she's going to have to at least hold a lap for towing. And I think we're going to go back down and see what exactly happened to Reynolds here. So we'll have to go through the time warp here to figure out what exactly happened. But we saw it on the live shot. Keep an eye on that orange machine of the 71 of Sharp and the 7 of Tommy Reynolds here, as we're going to play it here. And Reynolds minding his own business. Sharp, does she get a bad bump? Gets hooked. Yep, that's a bump, a bad bump out of the corner exit, gets hip checked by the 7. At this point, the 7 trying to get on the brakes, there's not much you can do. And you're going to see an old N64 reference here as the 7 ends up doing a barrel roll here on the side. Not the cleanest thing in the world, but that was a big lick.
Big lick that makes you grateful that this is a sim racing and not real racing. If it were, we have a lot of care in the care center for the driver of that 7 machine. Let's go on board now with the 7 of Reynolds, who's been running strong all night long. We'll have to go on board just to see exactly how bad that lick was in that flip. Now, the 7 did have a quick repair in the bank already, so he will be able to get that repaired and get back on track, but let's see just exactly how hard it was, especially when he wasn't expecting the 71 to come down into him. 71 gets the bad bump, he sees it coming, nowhere to go, into the safer barrier, and a clean barrel roll that would normally have taken him out and required maybe a trip to the hospital, but Tommy Reynolds able to get back under control, get it straight down pit road, get the quick repair, and now he's still in contention.
Reminds me of Earnhardt 96 Talladega. May have got the year wrong when he flipped it down the backstretch, got back in the car, and drove it down pit lane. It's almost shock he kept going, and it was actually 97 Daytona, as I got the little fact check right there. But you can see Tommy Reynolds, I'm shocked, and he kept driving that at that point. He didn't have to tow, and luckily, he'll get it fixed. I think he may have missed his box, and that may have been the reason he had a tow there. But still got a fast repair in the tank, but now going to be 1 down and 18 to go here. It's going to be that. So we'll take one more look at this again here, and you can see again just parts flying all over here, and you can just see again one more time. So I think we'll actually just take from the sounds here just to hear the noise of this accident. Very, very rough accident. It just sounds awful as you can see things just sparking as it drags from under the bottom there. So now back to live action. Couple cars pitted. Tommy Reynolds is still running at the very least, using that fast repair. But he is now 1 down. He's in a collision with a bunch of other cars, so he's going to have to hope to get lucky and get back on the lead lap.
Well, so up front, the whole picture has changed. Now Blake Henderson is your leader. Eli Sasak, one of the ascent machines, in position number 2. Kevin Gibney, who was involved in an incident earlier, the Valfreya driver, will be position number 3. He'll be joined by Joshua Gaiman, another Valfreya driver, in position number 4. Now the 1's going to have to go back quite a little bit, and so we'll see exactly where the 1 ends up at. May have been a penalty for him. So now it'll be Joshua Gaiman, joined by the 00 Pacey Watch, the coast-to-coast driver, as everybody getting in line, getting figured out where they're going to go. It'll be Kevin Gibney who will get the wave around. He'll get his lap back. And once again, teams mixed up, teams settling out, except for Arrowhead Motorsports, who now has 3 cars in the top 6.
From one of the cars, Seth Wanzing, he'll get the wave around as well. So it looks like it may have been just an issue with the iRacing, how sometimes that happens, where cars can make slight mistakes. So Wanzing, Gibney will get the wave around. That will put Gibney back on the lead lap. As for Wanzing, I think he'll be he's on the lead lap as well. So both of them will get the lead lap here, and they'll give us 31 cars on the lead lap with 36 cars running. Callie Height, Marcus Chafin, Selena Thompson, and Ruby Estes, 4 cars behind the wall. But maybe, as they're still trying to work on Callie Height's machine, we'll see if she gets back out there. But yeah, it looks like she is. So she'll join the living 37 still running with Chafin, Thompson, and Estes behind the wall.
So Blake Henderson leads his first laps in the race with 17 to go, 16 when we go back to green flag racing. Everybody has what they have. Their tanks are full. The tires are what they are. So now it's all about guile. It's now all about how much do you want it? How bad Do you want to do you want to win this race? And what are you willing to do? We talked to Blake Henderson earlier in the race, and he said, I would dump my own mother if I had to win this race. It may come down to that, Kevin.
Oh, it will 100% do that. You know these drivers, again, being so close yet so far, average of 5.5, some point, especially with the season he had last year, you got to just do that sometimes, have that mentality. Pace car is going to pull off. It's going to be on Henderson's control here, and we're going to see how he restarts here in the restart zone. Green flag is out, and away we go with 16 laps to go.
Henderson gets in push from the 33 of Gaiman, the 44, also the pole sitter, also in the mix as well. The 9 did not get a great start. He will get the push from the 00 and be forced to go down low. So now the battle on the field is between the 25 of Blake Henderson and the 33 of DeMonte Johnson. No, check out Gaiman. Two drivers who have a big shot at winning this race. Now here comes the 44 of John Hagan. Can the pole sitter come back and win this race?
Remember, Hagan and Gaiman, they have a bit of bad blood. There's some rivalries around this HTL paddock right now, and they have some bad blood. So you know for a fact if Hagan can maybe dip Gaiman at the altar, he may consider doing that. But more importantly, remember, Gaiman was in a spot last year where he was about to win. He got passed by eventual winner Joshua Sosi. So Gaiman knows what it's like to be in these late race situations and have it end up with pain. But right now, Josh Gaiman is still running well on that low side. But Hagan going to link up with the Arrowhead contingency of the 18 of Shad Swatsworth, and they're going to try to go to the front here.
And if anyone can make it to the front, you know it's the 44 of John Hagan. He was competitive in the duel. He won the pole outright with his run, and now he's going to try to come back to win it. He gets a good shot from the 80, the 00 in the mix as well. Arrowhead coast to coast working with one another, and now we have two coast to coast racing helping two Arrowhead racing cars, and 44 will once again take the lead.
Yeah, right now Hayden's place where he wants to be. Remember, he was at the SHQ. Oh, Swatsworth trying to clear himself. He's mowing the grass right now. Let's see if he can keep it straight. He's still got his foot in it, but it's going sideways. Luckily, the rest of the pack is clear, so he will not pull up in traffic. We stayed green, but for the driver that was one corner away from winning the championship last season, this is what he does not want to see. Now currently way off the pace here.
And there's another driver who doesn't want to see that is John Hagan. He had a teammate running with him. He had a teammate going with him. Now he's all alone with Pacey Wygen and the two of Josh Arnold, the coast-to-coast drivers, trying to dispatch him. Now here come the 28 and 25. The 28 of Matthew Boone, the 25 of Blake Henderson. The Tombstone Unforgiven Alliance makes a big run, and they're going to lead the race.
They not wreck right there. You saw the speed wobbles from 4 different cars there, and they all pointed it right, but that just killed the outside line's momentum as they were all kind of squabbling between themselves. And again, hat tip that no one ended up around there the wrong way around. But right there you can see the 20 going to have to slot in up Hunter Peach, Pacey Wygen. They're going to have to get geared back up, but that gave that low line a lot of breathing room.
A lot of an accordion effect as they were forced to check up and move around out there. Incredible driving by all the drivers as they were able to avoid wrecking, and we continue. Green flag, 12 to go when we hit the start-finish line. Blake Henderson still pushing Matthew Boone, but when is Blake Henderson going to make the run? When is it he's going to be like, it's my turn? And more importantly, will the Freya driver of 33, Josh Gaiman, will he help him out?
See on that point, obviously the outside line is getting a bit of momentum here. You can see right now it's Hall and Braille pushing on the high side with Hagan. They're coming like a tank full of speed. As now the question is, obviously you're not going to leave right now at the altar. Henderson pushing whatever he can do, but it looks like he's going to go high. He's going to split Boone. Is it a bit too early? Maybe, but Henderson now to the point of this race.
So now Henderson, again, he said he'd dump his mom if he had to. He's never dumped anybody, but he is going to race as hard as he can to get up front. Dumps the 12, actually, as the 12 now sucker hold between the two lines. Nowhere for the 12 machine to go. Dustin Hall is going to take the long way back until somebody lets him back in line. Blake Henderson continues to lead. Now here come the 74 and the 44 working together.
I'm so shocked you can keep this calm, Joe. As I'm watching this right now, you just saw through 3 and 4, almost another bad bump. 17 got speed bumps going through the tri-oval, and right now, it's just chaos. We still have well over 27.5 miles to a finish line, and they're racing like we only have 5. As we ride out here with Tommy Reynolds, again, one down, trying to get maybe a lucky dog spot if another caution were to come. But like I said earlier, you want a caution sometimes, but you don't want to be the caution.
And remember, if it comes down to it, we will have a green-white checkered finish if we need to, and I don't believe there's a limit on the number of green-white checkered finishes we can have. So if push comes to shove, someone's going to win this race under the white flag, one way or another. Blake Henderson gets another shove from his alliance mate in Matthew Boone, and Blake Henderson once again credited with the lead. But the Brialt, the privateer in V-Tron Racing, getting all kinds of love from John Hagan up front. He wasn't scored as a leader on paper, but now he's got the lead. How long will John Hagan allow him to have it?
It'd be worth noting again, I've talked about this before, but they are teammates in the series, and when they ran their Daytona 250, they were linked up, and they were linked nose to tail. They finished up 1 and 2 with that 74 getting the win. So they know how to work together, and they know their allegiances. They've been in communication, obviously in different chats, but they know each other like a yin and a yang. And right now they're making that known on that high side, but it's still Henderson Boone on the low side, with Henderson leading the train, as we are going to come around this time by and see 9 laps to go.
If you're Tombstone Motorsports, you hear the bells tolling. You hear that long, low bell in the air. He wants to end this. He wants to tombstone the rest of the field and take this race home more than anything else. Matthew Boone giving him the shove now, giving him all the help he needs. Josh Gaiman kind of on an island right now as the team, again, the alliances are broken up. The only alliance that matters right now, Henderson and Boone, who are doing everything they can to defend the lead.
Carmen a little bit further back, a couple laps ago. She's having a bit of fury with Anderson and a few others making lane changes. But right now, just again, riding out here. Maybe a bit too far back to make something happen. But you can see right now she's thinking about making moves. Maybe she's trying to make the middle lane happen here. But right now, again, just waiting currently in 20th as we're now going to hit 8 laps to go. Clock's ticking. And if you don't wait too long, you may end up being turned into a pumpkin.
Nobody wants to have that happen. And I also got a feeling we're going to see some craziness brew up. It's now the 7 in the middle in the sucker hole. Way back there, Tommy Reynolds has worked his way up through the field one more time, but nowhere for him to go. No one wants to help him down the middle. He'll have to wait for Carmen Sienna to let him in, and that's going to continue the 2 lines moving forward through this race. Blake Henderson continuing to lead. Matthew Boone behind him. Joshua Gaiman, no help at all for him. He's going to have to hook on the back end of the 28 and hold on for dear life.
All back there, Seth Lonsky was going 1 down right there as he got past. Did not want to interfere in this race, and that's a good veteran move there to not affect this situation. See Pendell get a little bit squirrely. He'll pull back in line as we're hitting 7 laps to go. Right now, again, it's still Tombstone leading the way, but I think that outside line may be playing a little bit of possum.
That inside line may be holding back, and if I'm the 44 right now, I know I'm holding back just a little bit so I can push the 74 up and get around him, as now a bit of accordion effect around the 9, 94, and 12. 74 continues to run the high side, 44 shoving him hard, and the 28, 25, 33 all doing the same. Side by side they go into turns 3 and 4, coming towards 7 to go.
Talked about how Tommy Reynolds was trying to be the middle maiden last time by, and being lapped down, maybe a bit of a curse to work with the lap car. Now it's Hunter Peach trying to be the middle maiden. It's working a little bit better with Carmen Sienna in tow behind, trying to push to the front here, but right now it's kind of getting suffocated with cars high and low as we're hitting right now 7 laps to go. It's Henderson Boone still leading the way, but with laps ticking down, if you're Sasic, if you're Gaiman, you got to think about maybe if that outside line falls just far enough back, I have to go high and make something happen. I can sit in 3rd, or I can try to win this race.
If I'm Gaiman, I'm just timing my move now. I'm just timing it to when I want to make it go on the high side, when the 74 and 44 are going to finally get together, and I can jump in front of them to potentially take this lead. Again, with no teammates around him, with no Valfreya or Lady Liberty teammates around him, he has nothing to lose and everything to gain. He can go whenever he wants, and the caution flag out.
I think it was Joshua Sosi. I heard him on the radio saying a little bit, why did that happen? So I had to take a hunch. It may have been him. As you can see right there, he's way slow. I think that's Carmen Sienna, Ryan Pinnell involved. Actually, I don't think it was Sienna. It was Ryan Pinnell's red and blue machine. And Sweat involved again. Luckily, though, minor damage for the 3.
The 3 cars involved. It looks like they start with the 96 of Sienna out there, giving a little too much love to the 81 of Susie. 4 wide almost through that turn, and that will be it. The 96 hooks the 81, again, not by malice, but just by hard racing, and that will bring out the caution flag for 5 cars involved as he makes heavy contact with another car there. Couldn't see the number, but 5 cars involved in that incident.
Maybe this replay will give us a clue of who hit the 81 here, but we're going to slow it right on down here. And again, I was talking about how Sienna was trying to make the middle work there, and you can see right there as we'll circle it right there in the middle and just a little bit too close to that corner edge, trying to side draft, and it sends him right down, right in the front of Anderson, and then sends it right back into the 29. And at that point, it just becomes a track blocker, and the 08 machine just hits it hard there. So it's just a bad situation, and sometimes being the defending winner, and like we saw before with the track facts, how the race winner, oh, big lick, that was Ryan Pinnell that piled in, but being the previous race winner has its ill effects, as no driver has won that's won a super speedway race here back to back.
That 08, I believe, is the 50 of Lilac Zier, one of the Stepping Stone Motorsports drivers involved in that one. That's not what, if you're up front right now, that is not what you want to see, because you know what's coming next. You know what the next step is. It's going to be a green-white checkered finish. Now, everyone's got plenty of gas. That's not the issue. The problem is, with all the teammates being scattered and two drivers up there being in a technical alliance, you know that they've got a big advantage on the green-white checkered restart. All they got to do is run in front for 2 laps, and they've got the race.
So, yeah, we can see here Tommy Reynolds getting his lap blocked away. That was why he was racing so hard. He'll now have a chance to contend for this race. But it's going to be a bit of a battle here and seeing how it all plays out here. But we're going to go over the green-white checker rules again for the new audience here. Obviously, we kind of explained it a bit, but we'll show it on the screen as well and read it off. Race finish is extended with restarts with 2 to go. If the yellow comes out before the leader takes the white flag, we're going to re-rack him and try it again, and we have unlimited attempts at that. If the field takes the white flag, or more importantly, the leader takes the white flag, we are racing back, whether it be checkered or caution, but usually in those effects, we see it be a checkered flag that ends this race. So we are going to see a finish here on the horizon. The question is, will it be without a green-white checkered attempt, or will it take multiple times to make it happen? Considering last year it took 2 attempts, we'll have to see how it all plays.
With 4 to go, I would be surprised if they don't come back to some form of green-white checkered. We'll just have to see when exactly it does come down and the pace car turns the lights off. If it turns the lights off with 2 to go, then we should only have a 1-lap dash to the finish. If it comes off with 3 to go, then we will have an unofficial green-white checkered, but it'll still be green-white checkered nonetheless. And again, the biggest beneficiaries of this, Blake Henderson, Matthew Boone, with their technical alliance, they have a better chance to work each other than those who are now working for themselves. Joshua Gaiman in business for himself. Eli Sasak in business for himself. Chris Pendell, the Premier Racing Club driver, also in business for himself. And another one by himself is the 12 of Dustin Hall. He's in that Tombstone Unforgiven stable, but he's not anywhere close enough to help his friends. Pace car lights will go off this time. It will be 2 to go. It will be exactly a green-white checkered finish if we stay green for those 2 laps.
Yeah, this is more importantly, Henderson picked the high side. He wants to do a Reagan in 2011, try to jump low. Hopefully doesn't jump to start doing that in that regard. Looking further back there, just had a bit of a blink there. And we'll take one last look at the weather here. Obviously, I thought the wind was going to calm down. I was proven wrong. It is still 14-degree-mile-an-hour winds to the north. Now it's changed just a bit. Still a 66-degree Fahrenheit situation. As the sun is now officially set, the track is cooler than it was. So that's going to make this thing even more grippier. And luckily, the charity race ended under the lights. The duels were under the lights. And now these drivers are kind of prepared in all those situations to make something happen here.
31 lead lap cars will come to the line, and we're giving you 31 potential drivers to win this race here at Daytona International Speedway. Pace car will pull off when they come around. About a half lap to go. Blake Henderson will go high. Matthew Boone will go low, and behind them a whole contingency of hungry drivers. Joshua Gaiman in the mix. Eli Sasak, Dustin Hall in the mix. Christopher Pendell and Dustin Hall up there. Jeremy Braille, Willie Frazier in the group. John Hagan and Tommy Withers, your top 10. All the teams are scattered, smothered, and covered. Now it's all about who wants it bad. How bad do you want it, as Tim McGraw once said.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how high can you fly. We'll have to see how it plays. Obviously, if you're that second groove right now, that low, you're pushing those cars, one of them, far enough that they can't get linked up. That is your mission statement if you're in the second row. But the problem is, they're linked up right now in the same chat and be like, all right, we're going to go on 3, 2, 1. We'll see if Gaiman or Sasak's veteran experience can maybe break up that tandem up front. We're going to get ready to bring this to the action. Joe, get ready. We're going to have some fun.
The first racing Ford Mustang will make the hard left turn down pit road and get the hell out of the way for all these drivers. making their run. Blake Henderson, Matthew Boone, the advantage in the technical alliance through the Geico restart zone. Green flag, and the 25 gets a huge jump on the start. The 25 gets out in front. Now the 9 wants to get a little bit of piece of the business as well.
One of the 28 tried to lay off there, but it looks like he's still not going, so I think he may have missed the shift there at a crucial time. More importantly, that left Henderson's dance partner at the altar is going to have to work once around him with Dustin Hall. Sasek almost gets a bad bump there, keeps it straight, but now Pendle's in the sucker hole.
Rewind to the sucker hole as they continue to run. If they take the white flag, next flag will end it. Lots of shoving going on up front. The 25, though, has the advantage. Hooked up with Dustin Hall, another de facto teammate, and they will continue to run. Nope, trouble. Double zero goes around. The double zero goes around. Caution flags out. 25 now in the wall.
Hook late there. The blink may have played a factor there as we saw the connection play out, and that is the big one. Multiple cars involved here. Henderson was looking oh so good, and now he almost got saved, but he is going to have to limp it here and may have just took any chances of winning out of this contention. But obviously, we're going to take a look at what first happened with Pacey Wygant.
Pacey Wygant was caught in a 3-wide scenario there, just caught in a bad place. The 20 and the 2 stuck around him and were nowhere. Actually, after the 20 makes contact with the 2, it looks like the 2 got sideways into the 20. 20 comes down into the double zero, takes the 17, and that is the big one. That is the crash we have been waiting for. And I think it's easier to count the cars that weren't involved as opposed to the ones that were. But hard racing, man. That's all I can say. Hard racing.
This is what happens late. You're racing hard, and there's no lifting. You just go and go, and if you got to make it happen, and we saw it happen up front. Well, taking a look, I'm going to think we're going to follow Henderson here, and you're going to see he blinks. That causes a check effect, and at that point, you think Henderson has it saved. Caution's called, and he just gets a little hooked there by Boone, and that sends him to the wall there. Actually, Hall, I should say. And you can see at that point, multiple cars just trying to get through here. So Henderson, maybe similar to Hildebrand in 2011 Indy 500, feeling pain and misery as he was so close to taking the white flag.
Let's run on board with the 96 of Carmen Sienna, and who was involved in that incident. You can take a perspective from her car here. You see her just riding along, can't see very far in front of her. When the big one hits, nowhere for her to go. She just holds on, and then we'll get into the back bumper. The double zero gets hooked around by, I believe that's the 28 machine. And she goes for a ride, gets through somehow, but not as clean as she would have liked to. She'll definitely have some damage on that 96 machine as we take one more look, this time, Kevin, from the 1.
Yeah, you'll see here, we'll follow the 1 here. Carmen Sienna did a great job, by the way, to avoid that wreck there. Now we'll follow the 1 here and see what their perspective was here. As you can see, right further back, that's the Dunkin' Donuts machine. And you can see the wreck happens up front. I got a feeling they're going to make it through cleanly, or they're going to end up being with the big old donut on the side. On the brakes, making it clue, wreck in front. Ooh. Oh, shave there, like a shave on a Mochatima. And look at that. Oh, so close yet so far as the 3 of Sweat ended up piling into the front end. Thought it was perfect, thought they got away with it, but ended up getting a big old front end goose egg.
Definitely not how you want to end the race. Definitely not how you want to say your day ended here at Daytona as we take a little bit closer look here at the 1. The 57 cuts through, shaves the 20. Incredible run for that 1. You see just how close the 20 got, but the 1 able to save it, not able to save it in time for the 3 to come back up in front of the 1. And that is just rough. That no matter how you cut that, that is difficult.
It stinks because you have that moment when you get through a wreck, you're like, oh my God, I'm on top of the world, and then it became crashing down and it hurt inside in that regard there for the 1 of Kevin Gibney. But we're going to have to re-rack them. Obviously, the pain only subsides for some as others are still looking for glory here. Again, go over the green-white checkered facts one more time, as obviously now we're in an official green-white checkered attempt. If the race finish is now extended, restarts with 2 to go. If the yellow comes up for the white, they try it again. Unlimited attempts at this, but if the field takes the white flag before a yellow flag is called, we are racing back to the line, and it will be a checkered or a yellow checkered, depending on how it ends. But unlimited attempts if we need it until the white flag is seen.
Got to give credit, though, to the 9 of Eli Sasak. His team has had a really rough time out here on the field. Set Racing has been involved in incidents amongst themselves to bring out the yellow flag. but now Eli Sasak stands alone in the number 9 Ascent Racing machine. He's got a big chance to win it, but once again, the Tombstone Unforgiven Alliance is back in business. The 28 of Matthew Boone in Tombstone, the 12 machine of Dustin Hall and Unforgiven. They're going to start caddy corner to one another, and that could make all the difference between checkers and wreckers.
Bit hard to make kitty corner work here. As you see a little fun fact on the screen there, this is the second backup car at Speedways for Eli Sasak, and even then today it still wasn't clean. We saw him get in that incident with his teammate, the 99 and the 91. So Ascent Racing obviously has had the lowest of lows through speed weeks, but you know what rights the wrongs? Winning the biggest race of them all to start the season, and right now he's looking poised to do that. But obviously, Tombstone Unforgiven Alliance looking to break that up. You got Hall, Breo, Frazier, your top 6, with Withers, Hagen, Sienna, and Wygett, your top 10, and more importantly, Arrowhead got at least a couple cars, 6th, 7th, 9th there. It's going to be a bit tough to cut through the fat, but if they get another maybe green-white checkered attempt here, they can maybe make something happen. And there's your defending race winner, the 81 of Joshua Sosi, currently 15th. It's going to be a tall ask to try to make something happen, but miracles can happen. Maybe it will shine down on the postman.
Anything can happen at this point. Any driver still has a chance to win it, especially if we extend to multiple green, white, checkered finishes. The number 9 machine will be the leader. Matthew Boone second, Dustin Hall third. The 33 of the 33 in fourth. That 33 belongs to Joshua Gaiman, and a whole contingency of drivers behind them, all wanting to take home the trophy to open the HTL season. 2 hours in the car. Who wants it worse? Who's willing to sweat out a couple more to get it done? Pace car makes a hard left turn down pit road, and the number 9 of Eli Sasak hits the green, misses a shift though. It creates a accordion effect down the field. Everybody checks up. Now Sasak is going to get a big run. The 12 and 28 coming with him.
Wonder if Boone was going to try to fit that hole there with DJ Hall there, but Hall couldn't fill it in. But now they're all kind of pushing till you lift it. And right now, Sasak on that low line with the 28 of Boone on the high side. Both drivers were in the final 8 last year, looking to start the seasons off with a bang here. So now on the backstretch, question is, can that high line get the momentum?
Can the Highline get the momentum? Can the 9 hold off? Highline is a preferred place to go as the 28 of Boone going to get a shove from both the 11 and the 33. Now the 28's going to abandon him. Almost gets into the 9. Bad move as he's going to get in the sucker hole. The 33 of Gaiman now getting the shove from the 11. White flag will come out this time by. Next flag will end it. No, next flag will not end it.
Ooh, I think the caution was called for the white flag there. It was close. We'll see what happens here. It's another extended green-white checkered. We're going to re-rack them. The white flag was not taken. I repeat, the white flag was not taken. So we are going to re-rack them and do it again.
It was a 28 car that was in that sucker hole. Too much turbulence between the cars. We talked about side drafting earlier. Too much turbulence side drafting. The 96 pushes him down into, I believe, the 23 machine, and that causes another major effect involving several cars crashing out as well. That is definitely some hard driving to bring out the second caution flag to start the second official green-white checkered finish.
We're going to slow it down here. You can see Sienna, just touch doors there. Ping pong effect, and we're about 100 feet away from the white flag. Gaiman was looking happy, and cars wrecked. 93 comes up the racing surface right there. Sosi, big lick for the defending race winner. That is going to be a big mistake there. Pendel looks like he kind of avoided it relatively cleanly there, as a few other cars made it through. But look at that point. But just to say something on that move real fast that the 28 did, it was basically he saw stars in his eyes. He was trying to do something, and it ended up with egg on his face. We'll take another look here, riding on board here with Kristina Pendel.
As we ride on board the 94 Pepsi Ford Mustang of Pendel, you see just how close everything came, and almost how it ended his night as well. Let's ride along there with the 94 real quick and see exactly what happened from his perspective.
Yeah, we just saw it there, and he had almost a Pepsi with a cherry twist, minus on the word twist there. We'll take another long shot here again, and you can see, again, side by side, smoke half through front, can't lift here, don't want to lose spots, and just shaves on by Sosi right there, and ends up keeping it clean. But look at that big lick for the 3 there in the wall for the debutante of Kate Sweat, and big lick there for her, and that may be race done for her and a few others.
Now it's a matter of the haves versus the have-nots. If you've saved your quick repair till now, you may still have a shot. If you have not, you are definitely out of the race and will have to pull it behind the wall as many other drivers have on the field. When we restart, Joshua Gaiman, the Valfreya Motorsports driver, will start position number 1. Lily Frazier, John Hagan, the 2 Arrowhead Racing drivers, 2 and 3. And then you have the 00 of Pacey Wright, the coast-to-coast racing car. Behind him, one of the Unforgiven Motorsports cars will be the 12 of Dustin Hall. So once again, team dynamics coming into play as Arrowhead has 3 of the top 6 cars restarting.
I did say that when I was saying they needed another green, white checkered if they want to get close. And well, they got 2, 3, and 6. They're going to have a chance here to win it. And Lily Frazier, remember, the speed demon of Speed Weeks with John Hagan in tow. Remember, they had that photo finish at the line. And look at Josh Gamer right now. He was about 200 yards away from seeing the white flag and looking to rectify the wrongs of last season. He had to wait well over 180 days to have another chance at this. And he almost had it, and it didn't work out. Look at the screen right there. Obviously, she won it on the track, but she got disqualified for going below the yellow line. But now, in the back of her mind, she knows the rules. Obviously, can't go below the yellow line. So if that situation comes again, she knows she'll have to do something different if she wants to win. So we are now going to get probably the one to go here, as I see Hagan and a few others get lined up.
A couple more retirees of note. Austin Mongold, will get the 91 of Ascent Racing, will retire. Lily Petelier Sharp, also forced to retire. The driver who started second on this field, is done for the night. Zach Apperson as well, pulling behind the wall and calling it a night. So a lot of the drivers who we thought could win this, now out of the race, and that'll call it for the night for them, leaving a lot of open space for these drivers about to restart.
One more narrative I want to point up here. Remember, obviously we were here last season. Well, I was here last season. Josh Gaiman was a driver that drove for Arrowhead Racing in that 96 machine that's currently the sixth position, by the way. Jumped to a new team, Stepping Stone right now, and he is currently surrounded with his former compadres cars different. These Frazier and Hagan were not there, and obviously one of those rides was filled in by those 2 drivers there. So the driver that was left was replaced by the 2 drivers there, and you can see right now it's a unflattering reunion. The question is, can the Stepping Stone driver that switched teams hang off his Florida compadres?
I have a feeling that it's also going to be a very tense restart. I think this is going to be there's going to be a lot of tension on here, not only because of the team dynamics. You talk about the former driver with old teammates up there. It's also going to be a tense restart because everybody now is anticipating another green, white checkered finish. This is why we say cautions, precautions. It gets in your mind. You start anticipating things, and sometimes when you anticipate it, when you manifest it, it becomes reality. We will see if that happens here with potentially one last restart. Our third attempt at green, white checkered will be led by the 33 of Joshua Gaiman, the man who would have been king last year. He has a chance to pick it up and win this time around.
Trying to exercise the demons here. We'll see if it plays out. Quick to note as well, Hagan and Gaiman, they don't like each other as well. Will Hagan support Gaiman on this restart here?
Only time will tell as the pace car gets out of the way. We're going to try it one more time. Our third attempt at a green-white checkered restart. It will be the 33 going through the restart zone, gets a shove from the 44, and we are back to racing in turns 1 and 2. The 33, the 44, 12, banging all over. The back over the 33. Now the 44 hooks the 33, gets into the 11. 74 now gets into Sienna. We're caution per second up one more time. Caution flag is out, and the bad blood rears its ugly head.
Yeah, that's what happens when there's an accident up front. It causes an effect. Henderson obviously fixed the car from the previous incident. Doesn't look horribly damaged, but that is definitely a pain. I can hear it right now on the radio. Hagan's taking responsibility for this wreck. It was mirror driving, but we'll take a look here exactly what happened.
Oh, no, he was mirror driving, but he was also pushing the hell out of the ever-loving guy out of the 33, trying to get around, trying to open up the 11, but unfortunately he hooks the 33, gets into the teammate of the 11, and that just causes a chain effect down the rest of the field. What could have been a great finish for Arrowhead is now going to be not a poor finish as well. You say it's checkers or wreckers. That Arrowhead, it's going to be wreckers instead of checkers.
Well, I will say Arrowhead's still got 3 cars in the top 10. Obviously, it may have took Hagen out of contention. He may still have a faster pair, but he's going to be at the back here. And look at the wildlife for Breo. And you can see Henderson trying to get on the brakes, and he ends up giving a T-bone. And then Odie piles in the back Henderson, and then Wanzing finishes it off. So I don't know how badly damaged that 25 is at this moment. He got hit 3 times. I think we'll even get an onboard shot. You can see also Matthew Boone get a loop there. So a ride on board here with the Zach Spees machine of Blake Henderson to see this race from his Chaos Connection.
Chaos Connection it was, as you see Blake Henderson goes to the restart very well, gets a smooth start, but way up front they start banging and bouncing around, and the next thing you know, everybody's involved in the second big one. 74, nowhere for him to go, drops in front of the 25. He'll get some love from the back end, and that will be what brings out the caution flag. So again, I think it's easier to say at this point what drivers were not involved in the incident as opposed to those who were.
We're on board here with the back camera, Josh Game, just to show you from his perspective. You can see again, getting pushed so hard, and corner panel sends him right into Frazier. They keep it straight, but for the rest of the pack behind, it was too little too late. They all get hooked around, but more importantly, Gaiman keeps the lead because of this. Actually, it looks like Gaiman came down pit lane here, so he's actually not going to keep it. Now we're right on board here with Carmen Sienna.
Riding on board with the 96 of Carmen Sienna, and you know she wanted to get the Arrowhead drivers possibly 1, 2, and 3, but unfortunately not going to happen this time around as she's quagmired in traffic. All she can do is watch her drivers get involved, get hooked in this incident, and get involved herself. Nowhere to go. She will get turned around, and then the 44, her teammate, comes up, able to avoid her, but still heavy damage for the 96, heavy damage for the 44. Not the finish they wanted.
And right now, car park for pit lane here, and I think it may be race done for a few drivers here. We'll see how it all plays, but we'll have to take tally of that in a second here as we watch on. But back to live action. Lily Frazier, you know, she got door slammed. She kept the lead. Josh Gaiman, again, ends up with pain as he is now had to come down. He'll be restarting 18th position to fix up his car. Looking at some of the cars here, Hall, he was in the opening field. Tommy Reynolds was a lap down within 20 laps to go, back on the lead lap, and ends up getting up to 3rd here. So he ends up having a barrel roll incident and is now sitting in 3rd position. And looking at the other two, you got Meredith and Dodson. Remember, Dodson got a speeding penalty on the final pit stops. Now he's in 5th. So at the end of the day, you really just got to keep your head down. Even look, Kevin Gibney, who survived the wreck there and ended up piling into the 3 car, ends up in 9th. So sometimes you just got to keep your head down. Things will work your way out as the 12 is saving fuel, it seems.
On the apron, trying to save as much fuel as he can, trying to avoid running out as we go into green-white checker number 4. And if you're all the other drivers too, you have to be worried about this as well. You did not plan on running. What are we now at? We're at lap number 134 of 120. So we didn't anticipate running an extra 14 laps. You've got to be worried now. If we have more of these, I have to come down for fuel. I may have to come down sooner than I wanted to. So these guys are hoping we can end it sooner rather than later, so that doesn't have to be a concern. But if it happens again, we're gonna have to start doing some math on how much longer they can run.
It's a little message on the screen here. You need Sunoco to finish this race. But more importantly, I think that's why a few cars came down extra, like maybe Gaiman, to fix up damage and pit. Because remember, fuel tank is about 22, 27 laps here, and with the extra cautions giving you a little extra life in the fuel, there's that concern, though, that you still can only stretch it so far before it starts to sputter. And looking at this, again, this top half of the field here for a second, Frazier and Hall came in at 103 and 102 respectively. Reynolds on down, 125 to DG Trout, who also came in at 108. But from 3 to 7, they all came in at 125. They're good to go. They have no fuel concerns. This front 2, though, there is concern, as you saw them saving to try to get whatever they can do. And the question is, can the inexperience of both drivers here get them enough fuel to make it to the finish line?
Arrowhead once again 1 and 3 to restart this race. The rookies Lily Frazier and Tommy Reynolds will start nose to tail. On the outside of them, it'll be the 12 machine, the Unforgiven Motorsports driver of Dustin Hall, and the 17, I believe that's 17 of Zachary Meredith in Coast to Coast. Now you've got to go coast to coast and start making some decisions, getting some help, trying to figure out what you can do to try to pass those Arrowhead cars for the win.
Look at Lily Frazier again. She's a debutante. She's the only debutante in that. Well, DJ Trout's also debutante in the top 10, along with Bobby Blowers and Dotson. So my point was proven wrong there. But the point is if they win, they're going to join an elite crew that can win on their opening Daytona 500 race. So it's an elitistic club that hopefully one of them can join.
It is a small club, but you know they are keen to join it as we get ready to go back to green flag racing. Pace car gets out of the way one more time. It will be Lily Frazier in charge of the field. Into the Geico restart zone. She waits for the green flag to come out, and then she gets a jump with the help of the 7 of Tommy Reynolds. Nose to tail. They're fighting off the 12, the 17, 31, 20, 20. All hot on the pursuit, though.
Yeah, we got a question again. Hopefully it doesn't sputter here. Cars taking a base of action. There's Sasic. They'll all get back in line. I think one car may have ran out. So cars taking a base of action here, but the top 2 still have the fuel at the moment. Now the question is, what do you do here? Obviously linked up on the low side. They're teammates. On the high side, they're not teammates, I believe. But outside line, getting momentum. This is where push comes up. You push until the engine explodes.
And they are pushing as hard as they can through turns 3 and 4. We have a new leader. It's a 12 of Dustin Hall getting the shove from Zach Meredith in the 17. The 17 a little bit wounded, so that might hurt him now. The 11 and 7 trying to get back to the start-finish line. 7 jumps up high. They will take the white flag this time by. Next flag ends it.
7 left a teammate there. You think you would have wanted to go with 11 here, but they're going to end up not linking up here. The 7 sees stars in his eyes. He wants to take this race win. He'll be side by side with the 17. The 12, though, can control the lanes, and look how torn up that 17 is. Is that going to have any effect? And he's going to get hooked by the 11. He'll save it, though, as they're coming down the backstretch.
Now it's going to be the 31 trying to get into the mix. 3 wide behind him. The 7 to the 12. Oh, more pushing around. The 11 forced to go back. The 7 is in the position to win it. But let's see what exactly happens. The 31 trying to make something happen. Can he get around Tommy Reynolds? No dice so far. The 7 blocks the 12. Opens up the door for the 74. 7 still up in front as they wreck behind him. It will be the 7 of Tommy Reynolds who takes it away. Your winner here in Daytona, Jeremy Braille second, and it looks like Lilac Zier will finish top 3.
We need to go back to that trial. A car flipped so aggressively here. We'll take a look at it in a second. But Tommy Reynolds, speaking of cars that flipped, he was upside down. He did a barrel roll, and he ended up coming out doing a Talladega 97 Dale Earnhardt and winning this race in this unsponsored machine. Jeremy Braille came oh so close in second position to getting the last crown jewel he needed, and he will finish second, and Dustin Hall will get third. But Tommy Reynolds right now, very excited in that cockpit. Remember, he had to qualify into this race. He was an open car. He came oh so close to missing it, and he ends up coming in as an open car and winning this race. We take a look at this last couple corners.
Taking a look at just the insanity that happened again, starting around the 31 machine, Demonte Dodson, the American Airlines car. You'd think it was a Boeing the way it was bouncing around and crashing all over the place. That's going to start all the chaos, all the drama, and a lot of drivers going to cross the line, spinning, wrecking, however they can go. We'll take a look at it. No, we won't. We will go back to Tommy Reynolds, your race winner. You're right. He was an open car. He had a very small chance to win this race, but he defied the odds after that barrel roll, and he's going to walk away in an elite group of 5 winners who have won the HTL Daytona 500.
And it's worth noting, I want to say 2 things. 1, it's an unsponsored machine, so if he was shooting that by choice, you know a bunch of sponsors are going to be knocking on his door to sponsor that machine. But I want to take a quote from him. Earlier this race on social media, on X no less, he was quoted saying this: "Super excited to race tonight. Last season I didn't make it, but ended up as a last-minute substitute. Starting 14th and being aggressive, can't wait." Well, he was aggressive, he started 14th, and he is your winner. And we're going to hear from him soon, along with a few others. But Tommy Reynolds not burning it down that much, maybe taking ode from Ryan Blaney. You don't whip the horse after it won, but he is probably very excited after a very, very chaotic evening for him.
Let's take you down now the unofficial results of the HTL Daytona 500 here at Daytona International Speedway. Tommy Reynolds, unofficially your winner, starts 14th, works his way up, and by luck and the grace of God, he will win this race. Jeremy Brault, the privateer, in second. Dustin Hall, third. Lilac Zier, one of the 3 surviving stepping stone racers, will finish 4th. Her teammate, Bianca Constantino, in position number 5. Eli Sasak, who will finish in 16th. Clevette 7th. Lily Frazier 8th. Demonte Dotson, after getting him involved in that incident, will cross to the line 9th. it'll be Gary Donaldson. Or, I'm sorry, check that, DJ Trout rounding out your top 10.
Question is, Tommy Reynolds, I don't think he's in an open, he's in a chartered race. So I think he's going to race the full season at the very least. You can see the 93 big flip there at the very least. But Reynolds, if he isn't running full season, I think he is. This win is definitely going to help him. And if he wasn't, he may get a chance to drive full time here. But you can see right there again, very happy driver indeed, as he is very excited.
Going down the rest of the field, Gary Donaldson will finish 11th, Matthew Boone 12th, Carmen Sienna finishes 13th, Josh Susie in 14th, Hunter Peach 15th, Richard Odie will finish 16th, John Hagan, your pole sitter, will finish all the way back in position 17. Joshua Gaiman, who was once again the bridesmaid, never the bride, will finish 18th position. Alfred Denny, 19th. And Josh Arnold rounds out your top 20. Zachary Meredith, Bobby Bowers, Kevin Gibney Jr., 23rd. Chad Swatsworth, 14th. Blake Henderson, who had a chance to win this, 25th. Ryan Pinnell, 26th, all a lap down. Tommy Withers will finish 27th. Seth Wansing, 2 laps down, 28th. And now we have the DNFers. Kelly Height, Pacey Wychett, Kate Sweat, Austin Mongold, Willie Sharp, Elias Flores, Christopher Pendell, Zach Apperson, DJ Anderson, Marcus Chafin, and Selena Thompson, all pulling it behind the wall early.
That stinks to start your season off with a DNF, but still a long season, still a long way to go for all these drivers. They're not going to end up taking this as a lump, and they're going to get back on that horse and try again. Looks like we're following Sosi here at the very least. Looks like he may have had a perspective. Actually, the 15, Orion Pinnell here, he may have had a wild ride here. Obviously, further back in the pack here, just looking to finish this race. Hits a fender there, and just trying to get around here, and oh, the car jumped over him. That's an ollie for style. In the Tony Hawk games, that would have been a combo, but at the very least, though, Ryan Pinnell keeps it finished and luckily goes under the car, the 93, and I think we're going to try to ride on board with their wild ride.
We will get there in just a second. Just a reminder, stick around here for the after show. We'll talk to your top 3 finishers and give you our final thoughts going into the next race at Fontana, the Fontana 350 coming up here on Aero Broadcast Network, May 6th, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. You see now that 93 just how much air the Storm driver got. It looked like he was involved in a storm of his own. 1.5 barrel rolls, and he's going to land on his roof. Again, it makes you grateful that this is just sim racing, that nobody's damaged, nobody's hurt, and of course there are no serious injuries. It makes you appreciate how violent and dangerous the sport is, and how so many people are able to still appreciate it and avoid it through the miracle of esports. Let's go ahead and ride along. Carmen Sienna here, our last view at what exactly happened here. The 96 getting a windshield full of everything that happened. It looks like just billiard balls clashing along one another as the 93 gets hit out of nowhere and will end up taking that wild ride. An incredible finish. Just a wild finish to bring out the Daytona 500. Let's go ahead and start talking to your... I'm sorry, Kevin. Let's go ahead and start talking to your leaders. But first, I want to take your thoughts on that.
I was going to say one more thing there. Sorry, I just want to interrupt one thing. I was looking at that 93's flip, and honestly, I was wondering, what does it remind me of? And I'm reminded, Cars 3 with Lightning McQueen flipping. That kind of reminded me of that with multiple spins there. So a movie reference at the very least, but that was just a wild ride. But again, that will probably motivate the 93 to come back faster and stronger. I wouldn't be shocked if they're in contention next week. But now, I think we're going to move on to the interviews. Joe?
Let's go ahead and start, Kevin, with Tommy Reynolds. I'll give you the honor of talking to our champion tonight.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind. Tommy Reynolds, this is Kevin, the ABN booth. You got a copy.
I gotcha.
Well, you had a very eventful evening, and I think you're going to be very thrilled. But I guess we got to start at the very beginning with all stories we do. So obviously, you qualified in an open car. You had to get into the show. You did, and you started off 14th. In the first stage, you were kind of very passive. So take us through that first stage with the fuel saving. What was going through your mind there in that first stage?
From the start, I saw I was kind of close on fuel, so I kind of just wanted to ride it out and see how everybody was going to play it. It was definitely a little slick to start it off. You could kind of see people bouncing off the yellow line, maybe knocking some of the rust off. But yeah, to say the least, it was pretty easy that first stage. Just trying to keep it to 25 when we got there. Yeah, so that was I think maybe the easiest part of the race, I want to say.
It was very the calm before the storm. Moving on, second stage, we saw you were up front, do the pit strategy, you got front, you made it work, and then pit stops, green flag pit stops happened, and next thing you know, you were cycled into a 3-car Arrowhead 1-2-3 with Carmen blocking behind. So when that happened, you were obviously pulling away. We heard from Carmen in an in-race interview, she was willing to block, she was willing to hold up that pack to make sure you guys race that between yourself. But if the caution didn't come out, were you guys going to get a little bit racy to decide who won the stage?
Yeah, obviously the intention was for all 5 of us to try and come out and at least be together outside the pit stop. We kind of tried. The thought was to pit off cycle, so we would be a little bit separated from everybody else. But there were a couple teams that pitted before us, so the strategy kind of got jumbled. But it still worked out fine. The initial plan was for the end of the stage, since I'm only an open car, I'm not running a ton of the races this season. I was gonna try and let them get the extra couple stage points and just let them ride it out, but it obviously didn't end up working that way with the caution coming out there. So yeah, I was gonna try and let them get a couple stage points, but then the pit stop right after I slid through the box, so that also wasn't ideal.
Yeah, we saw that on the stream. Missed the box and you sent to the back, and that ended up causing, obviously, to you're probably excluding the win, your biggest highlight of the race. You ended up getting hip checked by Lily Frazier. It sent you hard into the inside wall, and you ended up doing a barrel roll, and you ended up landing on all 4 wheels. I guess I would be remiss to ask what happened in that situation in that regard.
Well, I'm surprised you don't know the name yet, but it was actually Sharp that hip checked me. I'm not really surprised by that, to say the least. But yeah, I just either bad bump off of 4 and just hip checked me, or something happened. I didn't get a chance to look at the replay. Then my hood was up over my windscreen, so I couldn't see anything. So I was driving through the hood flap hole trying to get to my box. And I ended up going a lap down there, sadly, but so it ended up working out.
Yeah, your teammate would never do that to you. Ellis and Peltier and Sharp that had the incident in question. Obviously, that put you a lap down. And then after that, you had to work your way through the field. And with 10 laps to go, we saw you trying to make a middle line work. And then you caught a break of the gods, put you back on the lead lap. So I guess with that new chance, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to just create some chaos just to see if I could get some people scrambled up and maybe get the pack to break away and somebody would cause a wreck further back down the line. But yeah, I was, you kind of saw Alfred Denny and Dean. They were trying to shoot it up the middle too, and I think I was the only one that really got it to work the best. But yeah, that ended up working into my favor, and then right after that, the caution came out, and I was like, all right, well, I got the lucky dog. I'm gonna come down pit road, and then I'll come fill it full of fuel, and I didn't click my fuel button, sadly. So I was out there on 5 laps of fuel, so that kind of put a little wrench in my plan. But I came down. I think it was the next caution. I filled it full, so that turned out okay.
Last question I have here, because we do got a few other drivers to go through. Fonzie, last lap. You pulled out. You were in 4th. Take us through that last 2 laps in your perspective.
Yeah, I was a little concerned. Lily said she had some damage from I think it was an accident with Gaiman. So she had a little suspension damage on the right front. So I was concerned that it was going to slow me down. And I'm gonna be honest, it's a blur right now. I think I pulled out and I left her, or she went to the top. Something happened, and it kind of just opened up, and I was able to keep it clear. And I saw it off of 4 that somebody, I think, either tapped Dustin Hall or something, and I kind of knew I was home free after that.
And a weird twist of fate, similar to what happened many moons ago with you behind Braille. You were ahead of Braille this time around. But obviously, it is ABN tradition. If there's anyone you want to thank, family, friends, sponsors, whatever, the floor is yours. Take it away, Tommy.
Obviously, you guys, thanks for the awesome broadcast as usual. Thanks for Carmen taking a chance on me as usual. And yeah, I got nothing else. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you for joining us. Also, Rick James TV says hi, and hopefully you enjoy this victory. Maybe we'll be seeing you take more races in the future.
I hope so. Thank you, guys.
And that was our race winner, Tommy Reynolds. And Joe, I took the first place driver, so why don't we move down the line here and we'll hear from the second place driver. Why don't you interview our second place driver, Dustin Hall?
Dustin Hall finishing third. We tried to get a hold of Jerry Brialt. I think he might get fined because he totally skipped the interview. And, where's wise words of Kyle Busch? You always do the interview not to get fined. Well, he may have a talking to from the leadership of the trailers. But so we'll go ahead and go to third place. Dustin Hall, who had a front row view for multiple restarts. Walk us through the last restart. You had a chance to win. What happened?
Well, first off, Jeremy, I mean, skip me today. We're gonna skip all these obligations. He'll work with me. Now those last restarts, we knew it was gonna be crazy. I had to save fuel pretty hard under caution, and so I was kind of in my own world with that. Didn't notice that the 17 had no front end until we doubled up. And I look in my mirror and I see that as my help, and I was pretty concerned. But I'll be danged if that dude didn't push the heck out of me. Got me to the front, and then you never really want to take the white flag or take the white flag with the lead at these places. It never ends up working out. My help got turned in 1 and 2, and at that point it was block and hope for the best. I probably should have just stuck to the bottom, but regardless, it didn't matter. I ran out of gas out of 4, and they all wrecked behind me. Somehow you're talking to you. So I'll take it.
Sometimes you're just better lucky than good. That is the way of the race. You mentioned it, though. You had fuel problems at the very end. Fuel was a big issue for everybody out there. How were you able to manage this car and manage the pit strategy in order to put yourself in a position to win?
Really, it's hard to predict because you never know how many green-white checkers you're going to end up getting. I managed to get lucky, like you say. It's better to be lucky than good sometimes, and I did get lucky in that we didn't have another one because I would have had to pit. I probably would have run out coming back to pit road if another caution had come out. So we were pretty fortunate there. Managing fuel strategy, it was. I didn't really think a lot about it. I knew that I was never really wide open running in the pack, and that's kind of how I ran the race the entire time. Was just trying to take care of the car, keep the incident points down, and then and just keep it straight and keep it clean. And in doing so, I ended up saving a lot of gas every run. So it kind of gave me an idea of what was realistic for that last run. I guessed 2 green-white checkers, ended up with, I believe, 3, the 1 natural and then the 2 additional. Like I say, calculations ran me out just out of 4, but it's tough to manage these things because you just don't have that crystal ball. You can't really see when those cautions are going to come out and how it's all going to work out for you.
Well, I think the most important thing that we saw out of this race is the strength of that alliance between Tombstone and Unforgiven. How strong is that alliance coming out of this race? And more importantly, can we expect to see more of the same from the two teams going into the season?
I'm just hired to drive a race car, man. I don't know about team stuff. I need to learn a little bit more about it, I guess. I know that I hang out with a bunch of cool dudes in Discord, and I appreciate all of them and their help and their support and the on-track teamwork that we had. Who's on what team? I need to study up. We'll crash course before Fontana.
That's who makes it work for you.
Got to thank Team Conti Sim Performance, Team Conti, you guys for the broadcast, the league for welcoming me back with open arms. I got a long history with HTL, and feels good to be back. And it feels even better to be leaving Daytona with actual decent points because this place has been my nemesis in this league. So also got to thank friends and family back home who tune into these broadcasts and support me in my cartoon racing.
Dustin Hall finishing third tonight in the Daytona 500. Not able to get win number 8, but we're definitely going to see some more noise, I'm sure, out of that team. Kevin, a lot of good racing tonight, a lot of incredible finishes tonight, and, all through all the stages, we saw some drivers really rise to the top, rise to the occasion. I want to get your final thoughts on what we saw tonight.
Well, again, it's just how Daytona is sometimes. It's very interesting at the very beginning, drivers trying to save strategy. At the end of the day, sometimes it's a driver you don't expect that takes the win. Obviously, we were talking a little bit about Reynolds in stage 2, but when we looked at the end of the day, even I said Breo may have had a chance, but at the end of the day, Reynolds, an open car, actually the top 2 were open cars, ended up shocking the world going 1-2, and Tommy Reynolds will take the trophy and the victory. So overall, great finish, and it was that, and I think we're going to have one last look at the final results here.
So Tommy Reynolds, your winner here in the Daytona 500 for the HTL League. He held the line he held, and he will be your winner tonight. Jeremy Braille in second, Dustin Hall third. It'll be Lilac Zier in fourth, Bianca Constantinu in fifth, Eli Sasek sixth, Dean Clavette seventh, Lily Frazier eighth, DeMonte Donson, the rookie, in ninth, and DJ Trout rounding out your top 10.
Further down, we got Gary Donaldson 11th, Matthew Boone in 12th, Carmen Sienna in 13th, Joshua Sosi, the repeat winner, couldn't get it done. He'll finish 14th, Hunter Peach 15th, Richard O'Day 16th, John Hagan, our pole sitter 17th, Josh Gaiman, oh so close for the bridesmaid 18th, Alfred Denny 19th, Josh Arnold will round out the top 20. And now we're going to get into the cars that ended up finishing, I believe, one down here. Yep, Zachary Meredith 21st, Bobby Blowers 22nd, Kevin Gibney 23rd, Shad Swatsworth 24th, Blake Henderson 25th. A lot of these cars were up front near the end, but just couldn't get it done. Ryan Pinnell 26th, Tommy Withers 27th, now in the 2-down club with Seth Wansing 28th, Kelly Height 29th, Pacey Wygent 30th, 6 down. And now we're getting into the retirement zone, and we'll finish it up here.
Kate Sweat, Austin Mongold, Lily Sharp, Elias Flores, Christopher Mendel, Zachary Apperson, DJ Anderson, Marcus Chafin, and Selena Thompson, all unable to finish the race. They all retired early due to accidents, due to incidents, due to what have you. They will have a hard way to come back up after that race. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to my broadcast partner, Kevin Young, our technical director, Kristina Ryan, for making the race look as good as it did. That'll put a cap on our show here at Daytona International Speedway. We hope you join us next Monday, May 6th, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ABN 1 for the running of the HTL Fontana 350 at Auto Club Speedway. Until then, congratulations once again to our winner, to the winner of the driver of that number 7 machine. We will see much more out of him, out of the 7 and the Arrowhead Broadcasting coming up in the coming days. Tommy Reynolds, you're the rookie, your winner here at Daytona. Until we see each other again next Monday, good night.